is going on? Welcome,
What
welcome,
is up?
welcome. We are Grown A Geeks. This is Weigh In Wednesday. You are awesome for being here. What's going on, Ty?
What's up, buddy?
We are hanging out here, man, getting ready to talk about some of this interesting geek news that's been happening in the world. A lot of controversy right now. Like, it's just some weird stuff happening in the geek community. I'm like, what is
There's a
going
lot
on?
of big feelings going on. What are you drinking, by the way?
This is Four Roses.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the small
rocks and
batch.
ginger ale. Small batch, yes. Four
Very
Roses
nice.
small batch ginger ale on the rocks. So
I'm doing a Kentucky Mule. So I got some Henry McKenna bourbon with some ginger beer and lime juice.
sounds like a drink right there. Have to check into that. And I've been hearing a lot of my brother the other day was telling me about ginger beer, and that we were out and he just ordered the ginger beer, and I was just like, "You're not getting a Moscow Mule or anything?" He was like, "Nah, just the ginger beer itself is fine." I was like, "Huh, okay, I have to check that out."
There's some good ginger beer out there, man.
So that'll be something I'll have to look into. It's like, I will take your word for it. Probably
There's
not
actually-
something by default I would have gone to, but I do hear good things.
Well, there's your craft ginger beer, which is going to be your top notch. Like, I had a blueberry ginger beer that just blew my mind. But then you get other stuff like the canned stuff, and you gotta be careful because some of it's just like pure sugar. Other of it's like, oh hey, no, it's actually legit.
See, just the thought of a blueberry drink. I'm not a blueberry person. I don't care for blueberry pancakes. I'm just like,
Really?
yeah. So I'm thinking about a blueberry drink. Closest
Well,
you're gonna get me on blueberry is like blueberry cereal. You know what I'm saying?
So you don't even do like blueberry like pie or cobbler.
I can tolerate a blueberry cobbler, but I'm not going to eat the actual blueberries. I'm just going to kind of like mush them to the side. The simple syrup sauce and the paste, the dough. I'm all for that, and it's great with ice cream. So, but yeah, that's probably not going to be my thing. Now, any other cobbler, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm there for it. Love me some cobblers. Let me put this one over here in this chat as well. So we've got the link up for anybody that decides they want to tune in and jump in if they have anything they want to say. Comments are welcome, and invitations are open. This is a live show, so of course we just ask that you be mindful of the live show nature. But let's hop into it, man. Let's talk about some of the craziness that's out there.
What do you want to start with?
Well, I know when we were talking before, I know you're not a huge fan of the show, but you're familiar with some of the back workings and we'll say Hollywood insider side of it. But like this Rick and Morty controversy, man. Justin Roiland, Dan Harmon had a fallout some time ago, and Justin Roiland hasn't really been a part of the series, part of the show for a bit, and it's like that's insane. And hey, there she is. What's going on, babe?
Hello.
Hello. Oh, let me check.
Get volume.
It is okay. So I'll make sure my stuff is all set up properly.
Aren't we just blessed? What's going on, man?
Yeah.
Got the Mr. and the Mrs. on the show with us tonight. Perfect timing too, because we were just about to get right into it, so we can hit all the hard topics, get those out the way, and we'll go ahead. Let me move this down so my face can be seen. I want to cover up me and Todd. But I wanted to jump in with the controversies that have been going on. And sorry, Dave, one more time, man. One more time. You get to just say it one last time and give me your hot take on it. And Linda, if you have anything to add to it, or if you want to open up with it, we can go into what you have to say first.
Okay.
I feel like David's already spoken on it numerous times, so we'll give you a break on it.
Oh my God!
But we're actually starting.
Dinner.
We're actually starting with Rick and Morty. and Justin Roiland. And
Oh my god,
that little fallout. But really, I don't want to get into the what happens and the did he, did me. None of that really matters to me. Bad people suck, and that's a thing. But I like that they've decided they're going to carry on. I've seen some voice work from some people that give me hope that they can continue the show.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he's done from everything I've read and everything I've been listening to. He hasn't done a lot in terms of the creativity aspect of the show for some time.
And as far as the writing, the producing side,
right? So if it's just like he's just collecting a check because it still exists, then we're good, and he can move on. And if they separated that and he's not getting any more money, that isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Well, I heard someone mention something about, oh no, how are they ever going to find someone to replace the voice actor of one of the most
main character?
No, one of the most, brain is failing me right now horribly. Replicated, whatever word you wanted with that, voice actor, like ever. Everyone does Rick and Morty voices.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, how will they ever find a replacement?
Oh yeah. I've seen. There's this one guy on TikTok. I'm like, well, he's got it.
I know exactly who you're talking about too. I forget his name, but
perfect
exactly.
Rick, a perfect Morty, a perfect Meeseeks. He did the president of that one adventure they went on. That narrows it down, right? That one time they went to that place. That one place.
that one time at band camp and
right.
They went to the place with the thing and did the stuff and saw the stuff.
Right. And then the other guy was
with
there.
the guy.
Right, the one with the guy.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
And then that stuff happened.
And all of that. So it's like but no, I want to say it's the episode where they basically whip out the Voltron suits. Not the Voltron suits. They have the mech suits. And he falls in love with one of the female aliens, and he's ready to risk it all for her. Yeah. But turns out she's a bad guy. Like the king that was in that town, he does a perfect voice for that. So I mean, the guy's got plenty of voices in his repertoire for the entire show. He's a one-man casting call. So it's great, and they're continuing on with the season. So the 75 episode agreement they have, they've already put out 40 of them. They're going to continue. They're going to do the remaining episodes, and for those who are fans of Rick and Morty, myself included, yay, we're not going to just lose the show because one person screwed it up for everybody. So that's
kind of what I appreciated, was the fact that you have so many people involved in the production, and so the fact that they still get to keep working on a project that they put a lot of time and energy into, despite having someone do some awful things allegedly. We'll see, but I'm leaning towards the victims. But it's not screwing everyone else over because of their actions.
Right. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know, when I just look at everything that Dan Harmon himself has created, I would even lean more towards it being Rick and Morty is probably a Dan Harmon creation. And Justin Roiland just had some input and got partnered up. And as a result, if he leaves, it doesn't take away the show. It just takes away a player.
Yeah.
And we got a full house. What's going on, Jeff?
There he is.
And so, I mean, I'm very happy to hear that they're going to continue, finish out the season. And if they end with this season, write the story, write it out, I could be okay with that. I'm like anybody who enjoys anything, I don't ever want it to end. Let it go continuously until the wheels fall off. But stop it before it gets bad. When you run out of stuff, let it go. But I feel like they still have stories to tell because they have infinite planets to visit. And as a result, we could get more Rick and Morty. So looking forward to that. Jeff, did you have any last minute thoughts on Rick and Morty?
No, I don't watch that.
Okay. I didn't think that one would be one that you cared to weigh in on, but just in case, didn't want to exclude.
No. It's I feel like I see some people who like it, and I'm like, maybe I will give it a shot. But I just see so many people who I'm just like, eh.
It's one of those.
I just never picked it up. I think it's one of them things where it's sometimes for me, like when stuff gets like a lot of hype, I just like to wait for a while. I like to wait to see how it ends before I get invested in it. It's like, or I got to get in at the very, very beginning of it. But
not yet. That is next. And honestly, I think we will. I don't really think there's a lot that's very difficult about this, but in a weird way, this kind of ties into the same situation. Because again, with everything going on with the release of the newest Harry Potter game, Hogwarts Legacy. Is that the right name, Hogwarts Legacy?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
As of the release of this game, there does not seem to be a common ground. You are either one side or the other. And those people who are trying to stay unbiased or in the middle are like, you got to choose a side. And that to me is crazy. And it's such a toxic conversation around the whole thing. And this is much like we were just saying with Rick and Morty. It's great that they're going to be able to continue on, have their whole season, and everybody else who's involved gets to maintain and be a part, and their work gets to see, they get to see their work to fruition. And that part of it is good. On the flip side, now you have this game, Hogwarts Legacy. You have people who are hardcore, determined. They're going to boycott it completely. No support for it at all. And then you have people, and it's almost like a union protest where those people who cross the picket line, they're bad. They're going to buy the game and they're going to stream it. And of course, people are going to watch those streams because, surprisingly enough, there's only going to be a handful of people. But it was amazing to me as I was kind of just scrubbing through Twitch. Like, a lot of people are choosing to stream this game.
Okay.
But I think they're doing it because they know it's a controversial thing and they're going to get the views and people are going to come in and want to say their piece. And it's, and it's for that part of it. It's.
Can you take a moment, or can someone take a moment and kind of highlight what people are upset about? Just, for one, I'm not in like the Harry Potter world.
David,
I know the author.
Hold on.
Here, I can help out so that David doesn't have to.
Hold on, I got you. 1 second.
Yeah, so
that's about where it is.
Honestly, like, David, you can just read your Facebook posts.
Yeah, because for me, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, because I never read or watched Harry Potter, hearing that she was like trash didn't like affect any of like my fandoms, because I was just like, well, I don't watch none of that stuff anyway, so
all right,
it doesn't necessarily affect me. But so I never got into the details of why people are actually like upset with her.
Okay, so let me go ahead and just paint the picture for you here, right? So was it 20? It was 2020, right? 2020 where she started this bullshit. So
I thought it was earlier.
It was earlier,
it's
man.
Been going on for a while. It's I think one of the first things that gave us like an idea that she was kind of off her rocker was when she started changing around the races of the characters and then trying to gaslight everyone and saying no, it was like that the whole time. Yeah, I think specifically the first issue I remember hearing about was her saying, "Oh no, Hermione's been black the whole time."
Yeah.
Even though there's descriptions of Hermione in the book that is very much not that of a black person.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the starts with it.
Yeah. So the start was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Because something like that was just like, that's weird.
That was the first clue that she's off her rocker.
But she started putting some trans bullshit.
Yeah.
She was anti-trans. She made a book where a trans character was a serial killer, just kind of her way of just demonizing the trans community.
Yeah. And ever since June of 2020, she has just been on a 3-year tirade at this point, just constantly saying how much like trans women aren't women and Like her favorite phrase is those who menstruate
it
and
was
shit like that.
David, it was
like,
December 2019 is whenever
2019.
she responded with a tweet that transgender people should live their lives as they pleased in peace and security, but questioned women being forced out of their jobs for stating that sex is real.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there was another tweet in June of 2020. Rowling mocked an article for using the phrase people who menstruate and tweeted that women's rights and lived reality, it would be erased if sex isn't real.
There it is.
So she's been called out for being a TERF. And for those of you who do not know what TERF stands for, it's trans exclusionary radical feminist. So you're a feminist, but you're only a feminist for women who were born biologically fully a woman. So that not only excludes transgender, but also intersex as well.
Strap in, folks. It's going to be a long one.
And David, I do have a whole thing pulled up if you want me to go off of that, by the way.
I'm just going to talk and you just kind of fill in the blanks wherever you see fit. So, the issue that's happening right now is that J.K. Rowling benefits from she profits off of her IP, Harry Potter, and that whole Wizarding World franchise, right? She has gone on record saying that because people buy and consume her shit, that is full endorsement for what she says and does. So the logical leap for a lot of people is saying that, like, okay, so if you support J.K. Rowling or you buy any of this stuff, you support anti-trans rhetoric. Just coming together in this beautiful package of Hogwarts Legacy being released, and even like when it was announced, and trans people all over the world are just like, hey, you buy this game, you're transphobic. And I don't necessarily agree with that part right there. I understand why you say it. I don't quite agree with that because, at that point, like, we got to look back at all the other games that we're talking about here. Like, shit, anything by Activision Blizzard, because let's not forget that there's people at Activision Blizzard that stole breast milk out of the company fridge.
They pulled a Homelander.
Just some of the craziness that's happening over there at Activision.
Yeah,
we have time for right
so,
now.
Like, talk about Activision Blizzard, fucking Peter Molyneux of all people. Just Jesus fucking Christ, that guy.
To be fair, God, from what I understand with Peter Molyneux, it was more of a thing of he's just an asshole.
Yes.
Who likes to over exaggerate what he's planning in video games, rather than, he's like actively done horrible things. He's just an asshole.
Yeah. And that kind of comes to the point that I've been making. The point I didn't want to make, but somebody in the group already made it for me. Because if you're Harry Potter fans are kind of weak for all this shit going. Meanwhile, we got fucking Rurouni Kenshin fans over here with their guy, with that fucking guy.
Ooh. And
for those who don't know,
we actually discussed that previously.
Yes.
It's my favorite example for artists being on some bullshit. It's because it's the most to the point case. Like, because for those who don't know, Watsky, the author of Rurouni Kenshin, was caught with so much child porn that authorities thought he was trying to sell it.
Also, David, you probably shouldn't say that on here.
CP.
There you go. Thank you.
Whatever. DVDs, not Disney.
Inappropriate videos of younglings.
There you go. And he got caught with
porn videos. Corn. I like corn.
Do you know how much of that stuff that you have to be caught with where people think that you're trying to distribute this shit? I don't know the number, but it's got to be a lot.
A server worth, you're talking many gigabytes,
and it's
not even we're talking several terabytes at this point.
It's like what I was telling David too when we were talking about this earlier. As far as with that goes, some people who sympathize with him or try and justify it would say things like, "Oh, well, it's not like he did it himself, or he was consuming that media type to help him resist urges so he doesn't do it in real life, yada yada. The problem is that he's still consuming that media, which means it had to be created. So in a way, he is still directly contributing to ruining.
He's funding it to keep going.
Thousands of children's lives being destroyed.
Yeah,
completely, because you don't recover from stuff like that. So like it's not fully, at least. You're always going to have that with you, unfortunately.
To get back to Harry Potter or Hogwarts Legacy.
I was going to go back to that for sure. But
to their credits, to the game's credits, they have introduced the Hogwarts first trans character, and they, from the beginning, distanced themselves from J.K. Rowling. She had nothing to do with the story or anything about it. It's just based in her IP.
They had stated all of that. However,
hold on, that while she doesn't directly have an influence on the story or anything like that, she is on board. She has been advising them this whole time. It's on their FAQ page as well. Like, she does have a hand in what's going on as far as like the setting and everything goes. So she does still have a hand in the development of this money. Game. And yeah, regardless, she will still profit from this.
Now,
she also, David, from what you were saying, she does actively donate to anti-trans charities.
She does, yes.
So same thing in a way, by actually purchasing this game, especially not purchasing it secondhand, you are still actively contributing to what's essentially hate crimes.
Yeah.
Now, I know that it's at the same time that it does kind of come down to the same thing we talked about probably about a month ago or so. I don't even remember the whole conversation, but it was a similar thing of how there's no such thing as ethical consumption. And you kind of have to just kind of play it by your own morals, unless you're like, as long as you're not actively like supporting someone like, I don't know, Trump or something like that. Like someone who like has like Ron actually DeSantis. Done very horrible things. You know, especially when it's something that is directly supporting them, you just kind of got to go by your own thing, because you're misplacing your anger by taking it out on people who are buying the thing, rather than like, if you're mad about that, you see someone streaming the game and you're mad about it, go tweet angry things at J.K. Rowling. Go send her an angry email. Go send her a bag of dicks. Like, I don't care. Yeah. Just like
not the streamers who are playing the game, not the girlfriends of the streamers who are playing the game. So like people who have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. So that actually kind of lets me loop back to the point here. With the release of Hogwarts Legacy, like, of course, the internet has been a shitstorm ever since. So like, you got everybody who are drawing clear lines in the sand. And almost every single person that is being very vocal about this is wrong. Everybody on every side is wrong, in my opinion, anyway. You know, you can just follow me on this one, right? So, trans people have essentially been bullied since trans people were a thing, right? So,
yeah.
It depends on the time that they were in and the area they were in. Because there are certain, especially ancient cultures, that revered trans people as holistic.
Right.
So yeah, it depends.
I guess what I mean by that is like
in America, in modern times here.
In modern times, yes. In modern times, trans people have essentially been bullied and like, you know, euthanized at in infinitum to up to this point, right? They'll just keep getting bullied and everything. Like, so the answer to this particular problem for some in the trans, I'm not going to say all trans people, like some in the trans community, the solution is to bully them back and harder.
Yeah, which
doesn't actually work, and it kind of proves the point of the people that you are trying to convince that like, I am a person too, right? Now, that being said, everybody on the other side who's just like, all right, I'm just gonna get back at these trans guys who are telling me that I can't buy Harry Potter, so I'm gonna buy 5 copies of this thing. You're a piece of shit too. Like, what do you mean you're going to give money to the transphobe to spite trans people just because they said, hey, maybe don't buy the Wizard game?
So on top of that, what's really weird is that in the beginning, it was, we'll just say, transphobic people who were anti-magic to begin with. We'll just call them conservative Christians.
Sure.
Were very against Harry Potter because it was magic, and now they're like, well, now I gotta support this because now they're in line with what I believe.
What's even more hilarious is that J.K. Rowling herself has always been a very avid Christian and has like put so much Christian allegory into the Harry Potter series. I find it, as someone who was raised extremely Christian myself, to where up until I was like in my mid-teens, I couldn't even listen to secular music. Like, we could play video games, but like there were certain things that my parents were like, no, it's magic. Sailor Moon was one of them. Harry Potter was one of them. And it's hilarious to me because these same like kinds of people who were against J.K. Rowling for the longest time because Harry Potter is magic, despite the fact it's an allegory, are now coming out as like, oh, maybe she was right all along. Because look at, maybe she's not such a bad guy after all. But she
hates people like I do.
She's kind of falling in a similar, not the same, because this person isn't necessarily transphobic to my knowledge, but she's falling into a similar category as oh god, hold on, give me 2 seconds. I know the name of the person, but my brain is
no. I mean, because this is honestly, it's such a largely controversial topic that in the weird way, you do want to make sure that all of the right connections
C.S.
are made
Lewis.
because
C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis
Chronicles
who wrote,
of Narnia.
Yes. So falling
Narnia
into a similar range as C.S. Lewis, where C.S. Lewis posted, or is a Christian fantasy fiction novelist, and a lot of Christians view fantasy as demonic, as the devil, getting all their panties all, up
but
in
the
a bunch.
lion died and came back.
However, as it's very well like common knowledge now, C.S. Lewis was a Christian, not a fantasy novelist, and had a lot, like had so many Christian allegories in like all the stuff they wrote. So now it's not looked at as bad. I could actually read C.S. Lewis stuff growing up because my parents said no. But yeah, I just find it funny. Same thing. I don't think C.S. Lewis ever did anything that was like super controversial like J.K. Rowling. But at the same time, it might just be because there was no Twitter back then.
Well, that and J.K. Rowling has the particular issue that some celebrities do, and it hurts her like so much. It's the I forget what's called. Oh, it's called shutting the fuck up. She
have thoughts, and everyone
she
must
lacks the ability to shut
me on
the
Twitter.
Absolute fuck.
I mean, if you wrote like 7 books, 500 pages that everybody in the world ate up, you might think everybody always want to hear what you got to say at some point.
No, and honestly, I do understand that. Like you got
Also,
if you got fuck you money, you can just say whatever the hell you want, right? But
on top of it, David, let's say that you have a large following, right? And you believe very strongly in this one thing, right?
Right.
And that divides your fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to keep pleasing the half of your fan base that agrees with what you already believe, or would you want to piss them off just to try and win back some of the people that broke off the other side? So I can understand why she's not shutting up, because she has plenty of people who either don't care or agree with her. And I'd say, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a lot more, but I'd say it's a good like down the middle divide.
Yeah.
Of people who either are with her or don't care, so they're going to support her anyway, or are against her. So
I'm curious.
We're like, hey, I want to know what you say.
Coming from having done photography and just working with different businesses, it is a very common thing. It's very prominent to have a niche to narrow down. And I don't necessarily jive. I shouldn't say that. I don't necessarily agree with that. But it's just something that's so prominent. It's like, well, hey, if these people agree with me and like me still, that's who I'm going to target. And it kind of almost empowers them to keep on that bullshit because at that point, they found their quote unquote tribe.
Right.
So I feel like that's more what's happening more so than, well, I don't want to piss off both groups, so I'm just going to stick to one. I think she literally is thinking, well, I'm just going to target my target audience now because they're the ones that get me.
I think it's one of those things
I said,
too.
That's pretty much exactly the same thing I just said. She's going to go with the people who agree with her, and to hell with people who don't. Kind of deal.
I think too, it's one of those things in nerd culture that a lot of people are finding out that like everybody who likes nerdy stuff isn't as like-minded as some of them thought on like social issues and stuff, because they look at, I mean, the conservative nerds look at liberal nerds like, how can you not like agree with me? And I look at it like, how can you be a racist fan of X-Men? You know what I mean? But you see it all the time. It's like this stuff just goes over people's heads.
You know,
and then sometimes the people creating them are pieces of shit too, and baking that stuff in there. And I think the thing about this that makes it an open and shut case to me as an outsider is the fact that she was basically just like, if you buy my stuff, that's like a cosign. Like a lot of other controversial people don't go that far and explicitly say like, by continuing to watch this show or by continuing, like you have to like make those connections on your own. But she's just come out on Front Street and be like, nah. Like everybody who's spending money on this game is just validation of everything that I hold as like my point of view. Because especially when you create something like Harry Potter, that's not just something like she pulled, like she feels that's her world she created herself. It's all baked in there. And so if that's what people like love about her and are going to her for, of course, even her social views are going to be what she believes.
So
it's going to be in the IP.
So here's the issue. The issue itself actually does not lie with J.K. Rowling, because we already know what the hell she's about.
David, does it lie with her racist and not so thinly veiled view of Jewish people as the goblins?
No, that and it's fun. I'm going somewhere.
That too. She's
I'm going somewhere with this. Hold on. No. When I say no, she is absolutely a fucking problem. But the problem, as far as this situation goes, does not lie with her. It's everyone else surrounding this. It's
problem. Like niggas love Quidditch more than they principles. It's like
that's so. Well, so there's
just say that.
Quidditch ain't even in the game.
Well, so here's here we got three sides here. We got people who want to be a wizard more than they care about like their fellow man, right? Like I want to be in Gryffindor. That's what I care about. Fuck all this trans shit y'all talking about. I'm just trying to fly on a broom, right? Then you got the other side here where like trans people and everybody that's like full on just with my trans homies, they're like, all right, we're going to create sites and we're going to unfollow all these streamers, and then you guys can go over here and fucking send death threats to all these people that are buying the game and playing the game on stream and all this shit right here, right? Yeah, that's that. And then we got the middle here who's just like, I want to be a Hufflepuff, and that's it.
It's like we have a whole friend was like, I just wanted to breed the beasts.
Yeah,
I like the
like she just found out that she could breed stuff in fucking Hogwarts Legacy. She's been having a ball with that. She doesn't give it, like, she's not thinking about like the trans thing, or she's not trying to like spite people. She just wants a fucking cat. That's all she wants.
No, she wants the platypus looking thing.
Whatever.
The Niffler.
the niffler, whatever it's
I mean,
called. She
at
just
the
wants a
end of the day,
niffler. At the end of the
one
day, all she's trying to do is just get a niffler and just maybe like shoot whatever the fuck the dead spell's called. I forget what it's called. But
right.
but see,
So like a dabber cadabra or something
yeah,
like that.
but like so,
That
but the
makes sense.
issue is that you got all
Abracadabra.
three. You got these two sides and this one group in the middle that are just clashing and going around the issue when the issue is at the fucking top with this woman who is just like, fuck trans people. Woman is woman, man is man. If you were born a man, you a man. If you was a woman, you was
You know
a woman.
what?
And fuck
You know
all
what would
that
be
shit
you know what would
that
be a
talking
better
about.
thing? Be a thing so as like, okay, have a really big streamer stream the game, right? And tell people, okay, I'm gonna stream this game, I'm gonna marathon it for like 24 hours, something, right?
Mhm.
Just a long ass stream.
Mhm.
And say all donations donated within this time are gonna go to trans youth.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You know, make something good for it. Like, okay, like, or
So-
anytime anyone streams, like anyone who can indeed get donations,
Mhm.
put somewhere on your screen or put in the chat or something while you're streaming. By the way, to help combat the bullshit from J.K. Rowling, any and all donations that come through the stream are going to go straight to LGBT and trans youth.
And that's a good idea. And some streamers had already done this, but the problem is that people are bullying them because they're playing the fucking game.
Like, well, if you wouldn't have played it in the first place, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing,
Exactly.
though.
No.
We're going to
'cause
use it against it.
The problem with that is it still goes back to the basic concept that you spent money to get this game, and the money you spent to get the game supports the thing we don't like. Therefore, it doesn't matter what you do
See,
at the end. What
then you
got
could
you to
use-
this point is the problem.
So I'm gonna stay with me here, but I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna do a wrap around. Okay.
What do you think?
So you have so David especially, you know, in like the earlier days of Let's Plays on YouTube and things like that, right?
Mhm.
Whenever you had people who were streamers who were getting really big,
Mhm.
and there were video game companies that were starting to crack down and do copyright strikes if you streamed gameplay,
Mhm.
because they felt like it was going to take sales away from them, because people were just going to watch the game, and whenever they've watched you play the whole thing, they don't need to play it anymore because they've already watched you play. They don't want to play themselves. So why don't we take that like same logic as well as, you know, you're going to stream the game, you're going to put your Let's Play up on YouTube, whatever. Hey guys, do me a favor. You're seeing me play this. You now know what's happening. Don't buy the game. Donate the money instead. And
again,
say like
that's one of
I
those
am,
things
and
that-
like I'd specifically come out. If it was me, I'd specifically come out and say, by the way, I am streaming this specifically so people who are interested in seeing the game can see the game and not have to buy it themselves.
Hove did that, so hopefully none of y'all have to go through that.
Well, let me say
They say,
this.
yeah, but
So,
Hope did it.
exactly.
I'm on the complete outside for this, and this kind of works out for me because I feel like this is where a lot of people probably fall into this category. Like, first off, if I go to YouTube to watch gameplay for something, I'm trying to figure out how to get past this boss, how to beat this level, where to find the key, etc. I go back to the old school days of game facts, and if I'm watching somebody play the game, it's just to like beat that level. If it's a game I want to play, I want to experience it for myself. Now, I'll watch a trailer. I may watch a little bit of gameplay footage, but I'm so concerned about having something ruined if I plan on playing it that I don't want to get too much out of it. I am not a huge Harry Potter fan. I have seen parts of the movies. I like the Fantastic Beasts series. I kind of got through that. I have not seen every Harry Potter movie. I have not read all the books. But I have friends who are just like diehard about the books and they love the movies, etc. I don't know if they're going to play the game. I don't know where their stance is on J.K. Rowling and the whole nine. When it's all said and done, it comes back to the very, very basic crisis of art versus the artist. And the underlying issue here is there is never going to be an appropriate way, because we were just talking about Rick and Morty. And if Justin Roiland did the things that he's being accused of doing, then I'm an asshole because I like Rick and Morty. You know what I'm saying? If I continue to watch Rick and Morty, I'm not paying anything extra for it because the shit just comes on Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not paying anything, but the Nielsen ratings are going to say that, hey, it got so many hours watched and this, that, and the other. And if I continue to watch that, I'm an asshole for it. If I continue to listen to the R. Kelly CDs I bought before all this stuff came out, because I haven't canceled this, I'm the asshole. And people don't want to feel like they're the asshole. So they're going to find a way to try to justify why it's okay to like, well, I just wanted to play the game. I'm not really supporting what she's doing. And ultimately, it's like, you know what? I like Chick-fil-A sandwiches. I like Chick-fil-A strips and nuggets, and they have some garbage policies. Some of the stuff that they support and believe in are not my specific values. But sometimes when I look at how fast that drive-through line goes through versus the other options around me, don't judge me. I'm hungry and the food's good.
Yeah. And
it's like when people can accept that, like, you can be of two minds of certain things. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to automatically. And I'm going to say this from my opinion. If you want to play the game and you want to play the game because you wanted to play the game, play the game.
Play the fucking game.
Don't let nobody tell you you can't play that shit.
And I think too, the issue is the people. There's just a lot of people who want to draw lines in the sand, and then when you say, "Okay, then I'll just stay on this side," they want to try to pull you over, and it's just like,
so
there's some stuff where it's just like, all right, like if you think, I would have to reassess, like if I have to reassess a friendship because of XYZ or whatever,
right?
Or stop following somebody or stop watching the show. Like, I grew up on R. Kelly. I didn't know all the stuff that was going on until I got like older. And then when all the stuff really came, and then when they started talking about the specific stuff in the documentary, because I was one of them dudes, I was like, all right, I ain't gonna listen to no more of his music. But some of the stuff he wrote, I was like, I was just the one. I was like, I can't let go of Michael Jackson. You Are Not Alone. I just couldn't. Like that song was like my jam growing up. I couldn't let it go. Then I found out he wrote that song about like a teenage girl who had a miscarriage of one of his kids allegedly, and that was the inspiration for that song. And I was just like, I can't listen to nothing this nigga has ever done.
Everything is a hint
because I'm like, oh, he's writing for people. He needs muses. That's why he's keeping all these young girls around. It has fueled everything that he has created. Even if the songs are not like explicitly like sexual, like these women are fueling his artistic.
I'm so fucking
like
that makes sense.
Yeah, they are the gas in his car, and I'm just like, I can't give you. I can't put $5 in your tank no more. Yeah, I can't put $5 in that tank no more. I can't give you gas money.
I just got mad again. Hold on, I got some shit to say. Wait a minute. Right, I just got fucking mad again. All right, and I posted this shit this morning. I woke up out of my fucking sleep at like 5 o'clock in the goddamn morning because motherfuckers just hitting my shit up all fucking night. All right, check this out, bitch. How the fuck y'all so bad at goddamn boycotting shit that y'all made this the biggest fucking game release of the goddamn year? How y'all just bad at it?
David, you remember it was nominated for most anticipated game.
It was nominated for most anticipated game and somehow surpassed that shit. How did y'all do that? How?
Somebody.
Because anger and hate sells.
It does.
Why is Velma still a thing? Because people are hate watching it.
David, remember the no publicity is bad publicity.
Yeah.
Now,
drag me, Ty.
Now, no, I can't watch 2 seconds of Velma. I won't even.
Because I'm still watching Velma.
I will not even try.
I tried to make it through the second episode.
That being said,
I'm like Jake Gyllenhaal on the mountain.
I've disliked
I just
what's
watched
her face.
It's on, and
I mean, I've just liked what's her face since she got her first like show. You know, called the Mindy Project. I've just liked her since then. I tried to watch that, and I'm like, this is so horrible. And I noticed very quickly a trend in pretty much every single show that she or movie that she has any kind of control over writing, and it's always just it's horrible. It's bad. I'm not going to go into it right now because that's not the point of what we're talking about. But so
we would do a Velma recap in the season where we were just like,
how far did you get?
I'm current. Like I hate to admit that I've watched every episode, and it has moments, and that's what makes it so bad, because it has moments, and every time they have an opportunity to like fix it in the episode, they just drop the ball again. And it's just like they continue to disappoint me, and they keep letting me down, and I keep coming back and watching this shit, thinking at any moment it's gonna get good.
Well, like I saw a video the other day where this guy comes up, or it was a TikTok the other day, and this guy comes up and he's like, he shows what's the name that Shaggy is now?
Well, it's his
Norval.
name's always been.
I know,
Norval.
still. What are they actually calling him? They're calling him by his government name. What's his government name?
Norval.
So the guy was saying, like, he put a picture of both of them. He's like, if you guys had to invite one of these people to the cookout, who are you gonna invite, Norval or Shaggy?
See, before I watched
Shaggy,
before I watched fucking Velma, I would have said Norville all day, because look at him now. I'm just like, nah, Shaggy valid, bro.
Man, I'm not inviting Norville nowhere.
Nah, Norville can't come nowhere, bro. That boy a narc. He a fed, bro.
He doesn't season his food.
He would have called the police in anticipation to the cookout, saying it's probably gonna get rowdy.
Every party got one snitch.
Stay there.
He need a black uncle.
Yeah.
Nah, Shaggy
just
though.
Like, drop him off for the summer.
That's my boy Shaggy though. Shaggy valid, bro. I ain't worried.
But what I find funny though, with how much I wouldn't necessarily say hatred, but how wrong J.K. Rowling is in all of her opinions about transgender people. Because from what I've read from things, it doesn't seem like she hates transgender people. Her feelings are extremely misplaced, and she's not able to grasp certain concepts, which honestly her line of thinking is very conservative.
Outside doing that,
David, people do that all the time outside our house. You know this.
They're outside the window.
We got some
yes, outside the window. Because they're pulling out from the subdivision across the street. That's what it is. Anyway, so despite all of that, J.K. Rowling has inadvertently created so much support and money for transgender and LGBT people because of the actors and actresses that the movies elevated to fame. Mm-hmm. For instance, you have just, off the top there, you have what's his butt? Daniel Radcliffe
Harry Potter.
with the Trevor Project.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all know Emma Watson has does lots of philanthropic stuff endeavors that she has. So it's just that alone is like that's something that's she's created inadvertently because of that. And that puts a smile on my face. Be like, hey, I don't care how you can never understand that trans people are not a threat to AFAB people.
They just trying to get cereal like everybody else, bro. Like, come on now.
Exactly. Like, so some of her reasoning is the same stuff you'll hear from all of the major right-wing extremists here in America is, oh, well, if you let trans people use bathrooms, that means any man can just walk into a woman's bathroom and assault them. The thing is, there are men who do this, but they're not trans women.
Yeah.
And there most likely will be at some point someone who tries to take advantage and say, oh, well, I'm actually a trans woman, even though I don't present as such.
That's just the nature of the beast.
That's the thing, though. You're going to try and punish everyone.
Yep.
Because of the one person who had screwed up. It's the same issue you have like with people who are against government help, like food stamps. Oh, well, you have this person over here is abusing the system, and so I believe everyone should be cut because everyone's going to abuse it. No, the system when it works properly, helps thousands of people get access to food. Millions of people get access to food. Mm-hmm. And you want to take away the program for everyone. This is not an elementary school class. All right, you don't have to punish the whole class because little Timmy was standing on his desk. Like, that's stupid.
I want to point out something. That tactic is only used on the minority. Right. It's never the opposite way.
No, if
someone's in power, it's never going to work like that. You can't be like, well, this person was too patriotic and they fuck shit up. So if you're patriotic, go fuck yourself.
No, we love blind patriotism over here. What you talking about?
Yeah, it's like, so when you have like the
Christianity, you have Catholic priests who are totally covered. So even though you have
Catholic priests, like that's in any kind of power position, but especially in religion, no matter the denomination, people are like inappropriate all the time, and that's like priests, pastors, deacons, any kind of leadership in the church.
Fucking creeps everywhere.
But like, no, what's funny though is you have if you have like a big group of people, right, and the majority of them are acting or are doing like how they're supposed to do, right, and then you have one person who steals, then everyone needs to be punished because the one person stole, right? So everyone loses that privilege because the one person stole. However, if you have everyone stealing and the one person doesn't, then that's fine. Because what are you gonna do? Stop everyone? You're gonna just take it away for everyone? That's what you would have done if it was the one person. So sure, why not?
Why does that sound like ass backwards communism?
What, you mean like capitalism?
Because it's what it is. That's why that's the problem.
I just literally just had a fucking thought.
That's like, literally the problem. Because as I was just saying a moment ago,
why does that sound like fucked up communism?
No, that's actually the exact point I was making a moment ago with Rick and Morty. You have one person as a part of this large project that employs all of these people, and as a whole, regardless of how people feel about it, some people like it, some people hate it, blah 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 blah. But one person goes out and does some dumb shit, allegedly, and that person gets removed from the project so that the project can remain.
Right.
And that project remaining is good for the people who like it. The people who don't like it, they're not really going to be affected either way. They're not going to be able to dislike it more because that person's removed. That just gives them more ammunition to try to justify. But if you do the thing and you remove if you take the bad apple away from the bunch is still good. You can still sell those apples. But if you're looking to say, oh, there was a bad apple in there, they're probably all bad. I don't want to buy those apples. Now everybody's screwed. No money is made. And when you have a situation like this one where it's like, okay, while J.K. Rowling probably doesn't need any more money because she's still going to have certain royalties that exist, because regardless of what you think, there are still people who are going to go out and buy those books. People are still going to watch those movies.
Yeah,
man, that theme park be full every day.
You know what I'm saying?
Kids so it's come out there waving them wands.
So it's like, okay, you want to come up here, you want to try to like boycott this game. I mean, obviously, if you want to like affect celebrities sometimes or businesses or whatever the case may be, yeah, you hit them in the pocket. You get them somewhere where they can take notice of it. And depending on how much her cut was going to be for this game, the sad part is she probably already got her money.
Well, I know David and I talked about that. It's buying stuff now, she'll get bonuses based off of game sales.
So you didn't stop her paycheck. She already got that.
Yeah.
Probably just from the licensing agreement that came before the game was even made.
Because Hogwarts Legacy exists, she's making money. She will continue to make money.
So here's another like snippet I found here. So let's see. I'm just going to kind of paraphrase through. So in July of 2020, apparently she liked to tweet that read, "Hormone prescriptions are the new antidepressants. Yes, they are sometimes necessary and life-saving, but they should be a last resort, not the first option. Pure laziness for those who would rather medicate than put in the time and effort to heal people's minds." So that's a double whammy there, right? So not only against trans, but against people who are mentally ill or on antidepressants, whatever, right? And so she responded and said many health professionals are concerned that young people struggling with their mental health are being shunted towards hormones and surgery when this may not be in their best interests. And she also described the use of hormone therapy as a new kind of conversion therapy for young gay people who are being set on a lifelong path of medicalization that may result in the loss of their fertility and or full sexual function. Now, once again, this is proving another thing that a lot of extremist conservatives who do not take 2 seconds to really look into the other side, because then if she did, she would know that you can't just go to the doctor and say, hey, my 8-year-old says that they're really a girl and not a boy, give me hormone suppressors, give me puberty blockers. No, that's not the case. That is never the case. It's not something it's not a simple or easy task to get on that route. You have to go through multiple hoops. And a lot of the times there's age blocks as well, depending on what country and or state you're in. You'll hear a lot from
conversation, then I can't make my supporting argument to say why it's wrong. If I have to sound educated in this debate, then
exactly,
you know what I'm saying? I can only point out the facts that are going to make me sound right.
Because if they lied to me about that, what else are they lying to me about?
That's
where people don't want to go.
Like, I'll also hear things. I've also heard conservatives say, like, these are like Congress members saying things like, oh, well, that's right. There was a thing recently where I think it was the House. Don't quote me on all this. Please look everything up because I don't want to
research yourself.
But there was something that they passed. It's never going to pass the Senate though. That is non-existent, and it was, oh God, what was it? There's 2 things I'm thinking of. There's one that has to do with certain kinds of abortions, which I think that's the one I'm thinking of. It doesn't actually happen. But there's another thing that they were trying to introduce, if I recall correctly, that would block people from getting surgeries, essentially, gender-affirming surgeries until they're at least 18. And the thing is, that's already a thing. That's already a thing. There's not a single state that you can go to in the U.S. where they will give you any kind of gender reaffirming surgery, including breast reduction, until you're the age of 18. And a lot of states won't let you start puberty blockers until age of 16.
That is technically considered like a plastic surgery, right? Or like a cosmetic surgery, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I kind of knew that cosmetic surgery had an age requirement.
Oh, yeah. So. And on top of it, all these puberty blockers and all that kind of stuff, right, are completely safe to come off of it. Now, you are going to have individuals here and there who come off of it and have a difficult time readjusting. That's going to happen with any medication, with any medical treatment, any of that. However, that's just that's such a stupid thing that conservatives do. The extremists, especially, they just make up stuff that supports what they believe. Like, oh, if we let anyone into any bathroom, then oh my God, people are going to be like, listen, I've been a victim of sexual assault.
Hilarious to me.
Would I be scared if a man walked into the bathroom? Absolutely not.
There's a thing called confirmation bias where they will literally only look for what's going to prove their point.
Right.
It's never to try and see if it's the right point. They will never try and disprove it to make sure it's right.
Right.
But they're only going to be blinded and only see what's going to prove them right.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so dangerous, is the fact that they're literally missing so much because it would otherwise disprove what they think.
But the thing that they do well is they know how to get under people's skin. And the thing that
anger
I feel like the
sells.
other side does poorly is like it's like David said, like somehow this game that was the source of so much controversy, like the hate actually fueled the fire and of interest. Like that's the only reason I even know about this game, because people were like arguing about it and somehow like it spilled over into like my timeline. But I think that like on a lot of issues, like I just look I just look and I'm like, man, like for instance, the Grammys this weekend. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't even really watch them. We had that conversation last week or 2 weeks ago about my view on institutions. The fact that Beyonce did not win, in my opinion, probably one of the bigger robberies. There was a time in my life where I would have gone back and listened to that Harry Styles album and tore it apart, like song by song on my Twitter, it would have dominated all my social media, just trying to understand like how could people vote for this over that? And I was just like, you know what? I heard enough of that Harry Styles album from 30 seconds of that Apple commercial to know ain't no way it's better than that Beyonce album, at least for me and my personal taste. And so for me and my personal taste, I know what my favorite album of the year is.
But if you're not part of the committee that's voting,
right?
I don't want to be quoting Kanye, but fuck the Grammys. Who cares? Right? They're not a legitimate source of this is what is great.
I think that is the perfect sentiment right there. The fact that somebody we don't actually want to quote at the moment made a valid fucking point, but we don't want to give them the credit for having made the point because we don't want to sound like we're supporting some of the other shit he thinks it says.
And
that in and of itself is where we are right here. And that
I know, and in general, I don't like, I think any of these big award shows are the winners are bought and paid for. Everything is like nothing is actually valid. Because I guarantee you there are people out there who made much better music than Beyonce and Harry Styles last year. That had much better albums.
Whoa.
But they're not
out your mouth.
I'll let y'all finish. Because they're not
keep the queen bee out your motherfucking mouth.
Because they're not popular, they're not privileged, they don't have money. Okay. So because they're not popular, privileged, or rich, they're never going to be recognized.
But at the same time,
I feel you on that. But I'll say like as somebody who does.
I wouldn't necessarily say that they're mediocre, but mediocrity is totally fine as long as you have money.
At the same time, I think in fairness, I'm not disagreeing with that point. I understand and validate what you're saying because there's somebody out there who has a better singing voice and is probably way more talented than Beyonce. I won't say that it's not because they're rich that they haven't gotten that break. I don't think that's fair.
It's a privilege thing. Usually privilege is often tied with money.
I mean, but okay, so was it?
There is a money gatekeep, yes.
There is.
Which is why I don't really, unless the person's voice can really blow me away. I'm not really impressed by people who came from money and are like, oh, they're such a great singer. Well, yeah, because their parents paid for it.
I don't believe that was the case for Beyonce.
I'm not saying it's Beyonce necessarily, but I mean in general. And now she's built up a whole thing. She now has the money and the privilege. To be to buy her way into the spotlight over and over again.
Okay, so would Beyonce really? Okay, and this is about to be an interesting conversation.
We're getting super controversial here, guys.
No, it's fine. Like you know what?
It shouldn't be controversial for me to say that I think Beyonce is mid.
No, and I that is not controversial. I don't think that's controversial.
I will say I am someone who, for most of her career, has had that same opinion. I don't think I've always said she is very talented. She can sing her ass off, but I don't think a lot of the choices that she makes in her songs and sometimes even vocally, it wasn't for me. This last album, though, but also I love house music. So it was like she just threw me a fastball down the middle of the plate.
Yeah, right, it was just down for me. Right for you. Yeah, I get that. And I guess that was my thing. It's like, having kind of watched, in a sense, the career. You know what I'm saying? It's not like she came out and just showed up last year. This is her first album. Beyonce been on the scene.
She's won the most Grammys of anybody ever.
You know what I'm saying? Like she been doing this thing for a little bit.
Even though it doesn't
and so because of that, I while I understand the sentiment that there's somebody out there that is more talented than her, it's also like she's been doing this for a while, and because of that, she has a little bit more experience in the game. And I don't necessarily think that it's a result of, well, she has the money to do. No, I think that she got the money because she did those albums. She got the money because she was putting that out, and she got to where she is. You can't necessarily discredit what she's done to get where she is. And so when you have someone like, okay, so this is what, how many albums does Harry Styles have before he was with the band? With
just to clarify, I really don't. I care less about Harry Styles.
Okay,
and I especially hate that stupid song that went viral of his on TikTok yesterday, or not last year.
Yeah,
like that was just.
There is one of the songs.
Also, I don't understand why everyone thinks he's so hot. He's no.
He
looks like
Adam Levine was hot. He has that good boy, bad boy look.
He looks like David. What's the guy from Game of Thrones that got his junk cut off?
Oh, that's
Thorin.
Ramsey.
Yeah,
Ramsey did the dick cutting. Thorin was the one who got his dick cut off.
Yes, he looks like him, but with his eyes closer together. That's what he looks like.
Oh, the one with all the little birds.
No. He's the one who was from the.
Okay.
Who got his dick cut
I literally just rewatched Game of Thrones, and I can never remember his name.
Gotcha.
But it's the one that was taken from the Iron Islands.
The one that was taken by Ramsey. Gotcha.
Well, eventually, yeah. But yeah, no, like so what I mean as far as with Beyonce specifically, she always had the support, even if she didn't have the money when she was first starting out. She had the support of her parents. She had support of people around her to help her. Like, and so now, like, it's this whole thing.
So now having help is
nothing wrong with having, like, no, I never said that. I'm just saying that it's not all Beyonce. The fact that people worship her and say she did literally everything. She scrimped and saved, and she dragged herself through the mud by herself. No, she got there with the help of a lot of people.
I would love to have a conversation with any one of those people that's got you convinced that that's what they believe. I don't think anybody's that foolish.
She's not the one who writes her songs back to front every single piece. Like other people help her write the songs, people get help paid. Her put everything together. And there are still people who believe that people like her, Taylor Swift, like all these other people, all write their songs back to front themselves.
So here's
it's ridiculous to me.
I'm
not saying everyone, but there are people out there.
And I get that. But it's like, you know what, when you start something and you have very limited resources and the only support you have maybe is your parents, you know what I'm saying? And they have a few bucks that they set aside because they believe in you and they see the talent. And then you go out and you win this talent show, Star Search. And then you move forward, and next thing you know, boom, you got this demo. And mom is making the outfits, and she's doing the makeup and the hair. And you move forward, and then boom, you land this record deal. And this record deal gets you XYZ dollar. And now you actually making some money. Now you can afford to do some things a little different. You can afford more studio time. So you can spend time in front of the microphone, blah, 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 blah. You fast forward. Now Beyonce has the money where she don't have to sit in the room by herself and write the whole thing. She can pay top producers and top writers to come and assist to give her that fire. That is the result of her hard work that started that's
assuming she did all that hard work you say in the first place.
But it's also not fair to assume she did. Like, it was just,
I gotta say something.
Can I
go ahead, Jeff? Go ahead.
Chime in really quick. I think that what Linda is saying is a very common argument, I think, against Beyonce. Like, there's the infamous liner note pictures but she's giving credit not just to people who were in the room, but also all the people who she sampled and everything that goes into the course of a song. I think that with the Grammys, that is kind of just supposed to be about awarding the music. And I think that culturally there is this elevation of the idea of the one-stop shop auteur in music. You know, that was one of the reasons why Lauryn Hill's album won so many Grammys. Some people like the people who are on the Grammy board or historically have been on the Grammy board have always rewarded people who were able to go in the studio and kind of, even if it wasn't just you by yourself, you were the one driving the ship, and that like elevated the music in the eyes of the people who were voting.
Yeah.
Where Beyonce did the work for sure was on the stage and in the prep and in the dancing and the choreography and all that stuff like that. I think that I will say seeing her live definitely changed a lot of how I viewed even some of the songs of hers that I didn't like. And I think that watching her, because I saw her live, the homecoming performance. And I've been to Coachella like 7 times. And that main stage, I have watched some of the most popular artists in the world get on that stage and get swallowed up by the size and the scope of it. And I've watched people struggle with that desert air, the wind blowing and the sand in their throat, and people complaining and all that stuff like that. And she sang that show top to bottom. She didn't miss a note. She didn't miss a beat. She like it was flawless execution. And so maybe she did not put in like a ton of the work in terms of like the singer-songwriter aspect of things, but in terms of being like an artist, and I guess I'm one of those people where I just look at people where it's like, I don't always necessarily care if you wrote it yourself. I just want to look at what the final product of the music coming out was and what the video and all that and the dancing and all that stuff that you're putting together. Like, what is the package you want me to focus on? And I think with Taylor Swift, I feel like her package is, I want you to know that I'm a singer-songwriter. I wrote all this stuff. These are my feelings. This is my heart. This is who I love. This is what I was going through. And I want y'all to feel what I felt. And I think with Beyonce, it is, she wants to put on a large, spectacular show. She wants to be the Michael Jackson of this era. Yeah. And when you look at Michael Jackson's music, he doesn't get as much credit as he should because a lot of those skeletons were put together at his home studio. But in terms of entertainer and the work that he put in there, I feel like it always comes across as like, yeah, he was just like this natural, like, but no, like Mike was at Fred Astaire's house dancing till his feet would bleed with him, learning like moves, learning how to embody all these different styles. And I think when you were talking about putting in the work, it's like that kind of stuff. Like there's a podcast called R&B Money, Tank and Jay Valentine. They interview different R&B singers. No, she definitely was not lip singing at Coachella because there's a part in one of the songs that you can hear where she says, she has on my outfit. How did you do that so fast? That was from week 2 because there was a girl there with the week 1 outfit on. She had made it in a week. And the vocals sound the exact same. Like there wasn't no lip syncing at Coachella. I can tell you, if it was the greatest lip syncing I ever seen in my entire life.
Much better
because she was lip syncing the breathing too. But one of the girls that was in their first iteration of Destiny Child, she got kicked out the group, and she was like, "No, Beyonce, like she's the hardest working like person I've ever worked with in my entire, like she's the hardest working person I've seen in the industry." So if somebody who you kicked out the group says that about you, I kind of gotta raise my hand. But maybe it's just not in areas where other people value, because a lot of people do just value that singer-songwriter aspect of things. They don't want to watch you shake your ass in a leotard and do all that other stuff like that.
I guess
can I piggyback off of that real quick?
Okay.
Because I understand people really appreciate the authorship of the singer-songwriter, but take it from the movie. You might have like a favorite actor or favorite director, but you're suddenly sounding like, well, hey, this director didn't write this script, so it's not nearly as good. They didn't put in the work. No. You can have a group that puts in so much work and it still is great. And just because some person was able to accomplish that by themselves, whether because they just had to have the control or they didn't have support, doesn't make the collaboration effort less meaningful.
I guess it's the
Like-
what I've been trying to get across, which I don't think I'm articulating well enough. Is
Yeah, fix that.
People,
I'm
people
kidding.
All right,
Stop
you gotta
it.
relax. You gotta relax.
No, she'll get it. Go ahead.
okay, I didn't really hear that, but okay. Is that it's the hero worship of the one person.
Okay, and that I can.
That's why I don't
absolutely
feel like
see.
the movie and director thing and the writer thing really jives with that, because it's not the same thing.
Oh,
Not-
you
not-
have
not from what
many
I'm-
people
not from
who
what
would
I'm
just
talking
support the star. They see a star and like, oh, I'm seeing the movie because of this actor or this
Well,
actress.
yeah, because you have that, but they know
There's that hero
that
worship.
actor isn't the one who wrote the whole movie and everything.
Right.
They
No,
know they're not the ones who wrote the. That's why you have people who come out and they'll actively be like, you know what, that movie was terrible, but that actor did the best they could with the garbage that was given to them. Like, you know, that being said, then you have singers who do get all the backlash because people do make assumptions. And that plays against them for that. So they'll be like, oh, well, this singer did a horrible job with this album. Well, they're not the ones who wrote it. Why is it not this singer did the best they could with the garbage that was given to them?
Yeah.
Because they can
with this
choose the
album.
garbage that they put out.
Not
Yes
always,
and no.
because sometimes they have.
No,
those
sometimes
contracts.
you can't.
sometimes
Sometimes
get
the
better.
label.
Put this
And
out,
sometimes
so
stuff gets
you have an
remixed on the
album.
back end.
Yeah, you got an
Yeah.
album.
So it's not always the
contract
same
you gotta
thing.
do.
Because it depends on who paying the money. If the label say the label paid the money, the label say will go till you get to a certain level. Till you get to a Beyonce level.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't have let Beyonce make no album like this like 10 years ago.
So I know a lot
She
of
was still doing Survivor.
my takes just comes from me being poor and bitter and fat, but and someone who wanted to be a singer as a child, but realized with a punch in the face that was never going to happen. The skinnier person was always going to be picked, no matter how good I sounded. And the same thing when I try to get into acting. I don't look the part. You don't have fat main leads, at least not when I was, in the early 2000s as a teenager. So a lot of my stuff is biased because I am bitter from that. So instead of being on Beyonce level with the talent that I could have had if I had had literally any support, then I wouldn't be living where I am now. I wouldn't be having the life that I have now. I am thankful for the things I do have. But, it's still, when you think about how hard you worked, and because you didn't have that support, you didn't have the advantages that the few have, then that's, that is going to bias you a little bit to it. But I do recognize that, at least that's why I did want to bring that up at the very least.
Well, and to that point, that is a valid perspective. And
Do we have a therapist on right now?
I can absolutely
No,
understand.
trust me, I know I need therapy. I know I messed up.
No.
Oh, I'm in therapy. I need it.
Where
Actually, I need a
Where that
psychiatrist,
sentiment
so try
comes from?
therapy. It doesn't do anything.
and like it just comes down to not every situation is the same for every singer-songwriter, because there's a lot of people who, like, when Beyonce wins a certain, like, if you get album of the year, there's a lot of people who get to take a trophy home for that. You know what I'm saying? It's not just her. A lot of people get to take movie of the year. A lot of people get to take a trophy home for that. And so a person ends up being the face for its particular thing. And at this point, Beyonce is a brand. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even just her anymore. She is a whole brand. And that kind of goes like what Jeff was saying. Michael Jackson was a brand at some point, and it was just like you now have to be at that level all the time, and the expectations are so high. And we're even starting to see that even with something like Harry Styles. I don't really know anything about Harry Styles. I know he started off in a boy band, and he was like the lead of the boy band, and then all of a sudden he was a solo artist, and one of the other guys was a solo artist but didn't do as well. And from there
They all went solo.
But he's the only one
who popped off for real.
Right. I was about to say, he's the only one that I know about or can even talk about. And I hate to admit that I was listening to a song. I didn't know that was him. I was like, it wasn't until I Shazammed the song because I was like, oh, that's pretty. You know, oh man. Well, okay, let me put this in that playlist. You know, like that's the in the car by myself. Don't nobody know I have it playlist. And I have a bunch of songs like that. So it is what it is. And I don't know because I didn't listen to the whole album. Of course, my wife, I heard the whole Beyonce album. It was a great album. So I didn't hear the whole Harry Styles album to know that it should have won or shouldn't have won. And a lot of times, some of that stuff has to do with like sales and this, that, and the other. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, Harry Styles' album was much more available than Beyonce's album was available because I know for a while you could not stream, like you couldn't stream Lemonade. You could barely find Lemonade anywhere.
Nah, this one came out on all streaming.
Well, this one did.
Because they were doing Lemonade. With Lemonade, they did that because they were trying to push people to Tidal.
Right. But at the same time, like I know initially there were people who thought that they would not be able to get this one because they thought it was only going to be available on Tidal, etc.
Oh, yeah.
And then once they found out, so that probably affected sales to some degree. Now, once they found out they could get it, they ran out, they did what they do. But that's you know, that's
I mean, all that to say, I feel like everybody gets to draw their own lines. And
in any sand,
if somebody draw a line and you don't like it, you just gotta look at yourself and make a decision. And I think those are the hard things that people don't want to do. They don't want to look at and say, like,
I will say, as far as the Taylor Swift goes, I still do not understand the like rabid fans for Taylor Swift.
I do.
I don't. It's just pop music. It's not even. I don't know.
The way
and so much of the beginning of her career was based off of like fairy tale princess. The prince is gonna rescue me. It's just so like.
And that's exactly why it's successful because that's the mumbo jumbo that these little girls get fed by their dads and their moms.
I was
and
fed
then
the same garbage. But at the same time, I also know better. Like
you know better, but not everybody does, and some people still live.
Oh, where's my prince is gonna like whisk me and David off our feet? Like, what's going on?
Well, how do you?
Because it's a package deal. David needs to come with us. Is how.
But how do you know David wants a prince? Why can't it be a princess that was?
Because it has to be a prince. Because that's what the fairy tales say. That's the garbage.
But they write new fairy tales today.
Plus y'all seen David's booty?
I have not.
All right, so I'm gonna forcibly change the topic.
So, Nintendo Direct was today.
Yeah, that happened today.
You know what? That was the best segue I could give you on that one, David. So Nintendo
David's
Direct
booty
was
helped
today.
us
segue. You on your own there, partner.
All right. Anyway,
but what were some of the? Okay, so
David, stand up, show us pants.
There were a lot of. You know what? This is a live show. Thank you. So there were a lot of different games that were discussed today on the Nintendo Direct, and I think we'll start with opening just if all the companies continue to do their directs just like this, I don't see that we even need E3. I guess the only reason we would continue to even have E3 would be for the games that are not on a first-party platform and just need a showcase,
right,
of their own. Because that's kind of where we're going to end up.
You know, that's right. All Taylor Swift stuff is a whole lot of nothing. I agree with you on that.
Amen.
I mean, it ain't for me. She is clearly not writing anything for me.
But Sam, you don't want to be the princess and find your prince and get swept away on a horse or get mad because someone dumped you, like something that happens to literally everyone and is not
you know what I like
fantastical enough to have a song written about it. But okay.
I like that Taylor Swift was good enough to make an episode of the Family Guy where she was dating Chris, and
I hated that so much.
Actually, oh
my god,
the irony that was there, I like the way that they poked fun and made parody of it.
Seth MacFarlane loves to bring on guests that irritate the hell out of me. He brought on Miley Cyrus, he brought on Taylor Swift, he brought on Rush Limbaugh. Like, come on. Like, let's not do this. Can we not play this game? I don't want to play anymore.
But I think he does it just to make you mad.
He does. He specifically was like, what can I do to make Linda mad?
See,
That's
there you
how
go.
it is.
You gotta call Seth and tell him to stop.
Like, can you not? Can you just not today?
So all of the games that were announced.
Right. Okay.
What were some of the top announcements from the Nintendo Direct? For me, I think obviously the Legend of Zelda and the Metroid. Those were probably the two. Metroid, of course, we'll talk about a little bit more later.
So, all right.
David's super excited for another Metroid that's not a new Metroid. Isn't that right, David?
Well, the Metroid thing was a big deal for me simply because later on when we get into Fancast It, we're talking about Metroid. That's the movie that we fancasted this week. So, that was a nice little tie-in that Nintendo Direct has a new Metroid. So it's perfect timing. They got a new game coming out. Boom, let's make a movie. You know,
right? Okay. So here's what went down. So are we going to just do like highlights, or do you want to just kind of run down the list?
If you just, I would say honestly, highlights. The Nintendo Direct is available on YouTube. Go check it out. See what they had to say. They have all their stuff out on Twitter as well. Feel free to give it a watch.
Right.
It was, what was it, like an hour and a half, I believe?
About 45 minutes.
So, feel free to go check that out. The Switch has all of most of the Game Boy library or all of the Game Boy library?
Not even most. It's like the actually I can pull it up right here. So
let's see.
The Game Boy
at launch is Legend of Zelda Minish Cap, Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3, WarioWare Inc., Mega Micro Games, Kuruan, Mario Kart Super Circuit, and Mario Luigi Superstar Saga. They will be including other games in the future, such as Zelda, Oracle of Seasons and Ages, Pokemon Trading Card Game, Kirby Tilt and Tumble, Metroid Fusion, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, Fire Emblem, F-Zero, Maximum Velocity, and Golden Sun.
So some games.
Oh, Golden Sun.
Some games, yes.
Everyone get ready to stand outside. Go touch some grass and touch some sun.
Right. Okay. So I think the revival of the Game Boy, that really banking on that mobile gaming aspect that the Switch can do. I almost called that thing a Wii.
I'm gonna be real critical of Nintendo right now, just for a second.
Go ahead.
They'll do everything except what the fuck we want them to do.
They gonna do what they want to do.
Who the fuck asked for Game Boy? Everybody been talking about GameCube, and I mean, okay, Game Boy Advance I can see. Who the fuck was asking for fucking Super Mario Land 2?
Don't you know, David? That's my favorite game.
Don't you know that you can get that on your computer real easy?
Golden Sun was Game Boy Advance.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like Game Boy Advance, I can give you. I'll give you a pass on that one. Ain't nobody looking for.
At least they're doing Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Yeah. And some of the Zelda games.
Ain't nobody looking for another version of Tetris. You already got Tetris on the Switch.
I got Tetris on my phone, dog. Like I need every version of Tetris available.
You don't need another version of Tetris. You can get Tetris on your phone.
Right. But I want the green scale version of Tetris. Like if it ain't that one, it ain't the OG.
All right. So here's the thing.
Nostalgia costs.
Nostalgia costs. Okay, that's cool and everything, but like, I don't. If I can scroll down on my Switch and play Tetris like immediately, like hold on. I'm about to.
No, give me a second. I got you one better, David. Hold on.
Okay, like look, you can look right there. Boom, there's Tetris right there. I don't need another version of Tetris, especially the Game Boy version.
See, I'm with you.
It's green.
It is green.
That don't need another one.
That is better than the version I have.
I
don't need another version of Tetris.
Look, see, it works.
See, yours has the Game Boy look. Mine needs an update.
It's green.
So you probably have like the emulator going. See, that's what I need.
No, it's this.
Okay.
I just searched for it on the App Store real quick.
Yeah, you can get Tetris on the App Store. Like, God, come on, man,
for free.
All right, but that's my baby rage thing going on right now.
Cool.
Okay, so highlights.
I was about to say, so what were good things?
They just decided, hey, we're gonna remaster the first Metroid Prime and drop it today. So have fun. Also,
there are. I didn't mention there are Game Boy games coming to, like you said, Tetris, Super Mario Land, Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, yada yada.
Yeah.
Game and Watch.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, then we
David,
have
we played Kirby's Dream Land.
Then we have I lost my train of thought.
Good games. Metroid.
So we got Zelda. We'll touch on Zelda in a second. We got Pikmin 4. We got our first look at Pikmin 4. There's of course you got your new type of Pikmins, like you got the ice Pikmin now, which is cool. But now you get a space dog now.
Space dog.
I don't know what that's about, but it's cool. You get a dog now. Cool.
So honestly, because I didn't catch the direct, I'm just looking at an IGN article. It looks like a whole bunch of just like, here's more trailers for stuff we already announced. Like there wasn't anything like really big that was announced for this. It's just updates. Yeah.
It is mostly it's mostly updates, but there is some stuff here. Like the updates, like there are substantial updates and like quite a few of them. Like
well, there's no like big like new title releases kind of or announcements.
Right. So like to like what you were talking about earlier, the Kirby game that's being ported to Switch, there's a big brand new like epilogue story mode to that now, so you can play as the villain who's trying to get back to his own like dimension, and it looks cool. It looks interesting. So that's cool. And then you have the things like, you get your Xenoblade Chronicles 3 expansion pass. You're going to see what's in volume 3 and 4 of those. Splatoon 3 is finally getting an expansion pass. The first one looks like you're paying like $40 for like a hub, and that's it. But the second part of that expansion pass looks cool because it's like straight out of Nier somehow. I don't know why. But it looks cool. I'm excited because they just dropped wave 2 of the DLC for Fire Emblem Engage, so I got more shit to do. And then like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because we're still getting content for that for some reason.
Wow.
They're just like we're just giving you some more new courses, and then also Birdo is now a character in the game. Have fun when it drops, right? Okay.
Speaking of trans characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Nintendo supports trans characters.
So
Nintendo America does not, but that's a different story.
Another big one was Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster. That is a big deal because that franchise was all but forgotten. So I was heavily surprised when they just decided to say, "Hey, here you go." Cool. We're getting another Professor Layton game. There's another Tron game. Minecraft Legends, which was covered in the Xbox Direct. What was there? We got more gameplay from I forgot the name of it.
David, you didn't tell me about this.
I didn't tell you about any of it.
We love Katamari.
I didn't tell you about any of it. You didn't.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt you then. We love Katamari.
Okay.
Reroll is coming to it. Plus Royal Reverie, whatever that is. But we love Katamari. That's the second Katamari Damacy game that was released on the PS2, and that is my actual favorite Katamari game. So, anyway, continue.
Okay.
Don't sound so excited.
Food for thought. Got it.
We're getting a remaster of the first 3 Etrian Odyssey games. If you don't know what they are, those are first-person dungeon crawling games that are hard as balls, but it's fun as hell. That's why they have a big following. I'm excited because I only played a little bit of the first one. I can't wait to get my hands on the other ones. We got a better look at Bayonetta Origins, which looks great. You're going to be controlling Cereza and Cheshire at the same time. So if you play Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, something like that. We got an actual release date for Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. That's coming out April 21st. Can't wait for that.
Did you say Professor Layton?
Yes. I was about to.
Okay. Professor Layton in the New World of Steam. I'm going to interrupt you for that one too, because I like Professor Layton. And what Sam said earlier, they were going to have me talk about the Nintendo Direct, even though I hadn't seen it yet. But I can read and I'm going to say,
I mean,
Professor
I
Layton.
could read.
Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. For those of you who like Professor Layton, it has been a long while since we've had a Professor Layton game, so that's exciting.
The last Professor Layton game I remember was a handheld. I think it was a DS.
A 3DS. It was a
3DS,
crossover.
yeah.
It was a crossover.
Yeah, it was a crossover between Professor Layton and
Phoenix
Wright.
You also have a Samba de Amigo Party Central.
Yep.
Is coming out. So for those of you guys who like Samba de Amigo,
Grab my notebook real quick.
Life is Strange developer Don't Nod has announced a new game that'll be on the Switch, and the trailer was posted for that. It's called Harmony: The Fall of Reverie. I don't know if you said that, David. You went through there pretty quickly. Hi, Brianna. How are you doing? Let's see. There was one other one I thought I wanted to talk about. I don't know what it was. Is that the one I think it is? Hold on. You can continue, David. I'm looking into something real quick.
Okay. Well, she already covered Samba de Amigo because we're getting another Samba de Amigo game for some reason. Disney Illusion Island is getting more. It's Mickey and Friends platformer. I don't know. I didn't really get too much out of that. I was kind of confused, but it looked okay. It looked like one of the. It looks like that new, the newer Mickey Mouse cartoon, which is cool. I didn't get too much of that.
I got it now, David. So you have, this is one I didn't think you were gonna like say much about or mention because it's not really your thing. Fashion Dreamer is another one that's been announced. All you guys just go ahead and go to sleep right now. Fashion Dreamer is it's oh god, I assume it has something to do with the
Is it anything like the Bratz game that came out?
Style Savvy?
No, what was it called?
Are you thinking Style Savvy?
Yes. I believe it's I don't know if it's made by the same people, but it's very akin to that. I got excited for a second because I thought it was the game that's supposed to be coming out for that's from a mobile game that I played called Love Nikki Dress Up. One of the few like super ultra girly things that I like, but aside from all the pink that I have, but apparently they're making an actual game, not just a mobile game for it. And I was thinking for a second it was that because it looked very similar. But anyway, yeah. So you can keep going, David.
I mean, that's pretty much it. So like the last thing that you got is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which showed us a lot, but also nothing at the same time.
I will say what I saw in that trailer was I saw a jet, a car, and in fairness, these were time appropriate technological capabilities in the game. So it wasn't like you're not flying around an F-14. You are in a oddly powered. It's almost like looking at something that's like steampunk. Like, how does that work? But it works because he has like a magic glove now, and the magic glove makes things move.
Well, that's not a glove. That's his arm.
Well,
that's his whole arm.
His arm looks like it looks like a gauntlet as it's decaying or something. It definitely seems interesting.
Yeah,
so
Link got his arm ripped off somehow. I don't know how. I don't know why, but I'm curious to find out.
So
what did Link do to make him that mad?
It was one of those. Oh God, what are they called? The Lionels. It was one of them. I guarantee it. I
guarantee
it. Those things hold grudges.
But
I swear to God.
The interesting thing about Tears of the Kingdom is that this will be Nintendo's first $70 game.
Oh, that was a whole thing. So Nintendo, in anticipation for this, took down all the pre-orders for this game across every single retailer to where the page was either deleted entirely or it was made not available, right? Or said it was sold out. Until the announcement today, and now they've brought it up sometime in the last like 4 or 5 hours, that yeah, it is indeed going to be $70. And let's see, as of when I looked at it, it's around 8 or so. GameStop still did not have it back up. It said it was, yeah. So if you go now to, like, at least if you're watching us live and you go now, if you go to like GameStop's website, it says $59.99 out of stock. Let me see. Here's an Amazon. Amazon temporarily out of stock. You cannot get it from there.
I think the link that I saw at Nintendo, specifically Nintendo, looks like it would be available. You can,
it looks like Best Buy's already up. So Best Buy is the one that took the page down completely. It's probably because I mean, all the people knew, all the retailers knew why they were taking it off. So Best Buy was most likely like, cool, we're going to tear the whole page down. We're going to prep it so that all we have to do whenever it's live again is just put it back up. And the other people haven't done it yet. So Best Buy is ahead of the game. It's $69.99. It is up. It does say pre-order. You can build a bundle because it's Best Buy and they have that feature. You can even add Hogwarts Legacy on there if you wanted to.
And if you want to play it because you want to play it, then damn it, enjoy it.
So anyway, that's just kind of a fun little tidbit. So yeah, they're going to be charging $70 for games. Now, I guess so far we don't know if it's going to be something that's just all Nintendo games, unless it's like specifically a shovelware that releases for like $20 or $30 anyway, or if it's going to be like across the board type of thing where that's the new standard, like how PS5 and Xbox Series games are supposed to be going. So in other words, everyone make sure you game share with someone at all times until they take that away from us too. Because damn it, if life isn't expensive enough as it is, we got to buy eggs. I don't have money for a video game.
Well, now that people are going to have to start moving on with their Netflix.
Also, Sam, I'm sure you already saw it because you liked it. HBO is showing Last of Us on Friday.
Yes.
Instead of Sunday. So just an extra little thing there.
But it's Super Bowl. So
of course
they're not competing with the Super Bowl.
Of course, they're just going to force the change and blame inflation. That's what they've done for literally everything else. The inflation we've seen so far is not real. It is manufactured greed because they saw how crazy everything popped off in 2020 and how everyone was buying up stuff because they're sitting at home not doing anything. And because no one can go out because of COVID. And then whenever all that stuff, like the dip dropped so bad in 2021, they're like, you know what? We're just going to start raising prices across the board.
No, because
guess what? People got to eat still. Like there's been little things here and there that they've tried to blame as like, oh, it was this totally, or it was this absolutely. Like with the egg shortage, oh, it was bird flu. It didn't hit that bad.
No.
Like that's already been proven. Gasoline, same thing.
The whole inflation part, and not an economy class or anything, but like the whole inflation part also was in part to when employment rates were down and this, that, and the other, in order to incentivize a lot of people to go back to work and whatnot, they had to start offering higher wages. Well, once people started making more money, guess what? Now they got more money. Since they got more money, you got to spend more money. But that's the thing. So Nintendo Direct sounds like there was a lot of remakes, a lot of remasters, a lot of old shit that they're trying to bring back current, make new, and revitalize, breathe some new life into. No major titles announced outside of the Zelda.
We all came to the realization that Metroid Prime 4 was a collective fever dream.
Yeah.
So
let's ignore the fact that it was announced like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what? I have no sympathy because I've been waiting for Fable patiently.
But you know what? It's okay because we actually have a way to breathe some new life into Metroid with a very special episode of Fancasted.
There it is.
Featuring Metroid. So let me go ahead and Jeff, you got our little banner thing up and ready to put up?
No, I gotta send it to you after I do the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, you just throw them in there as we get ready to. YouTube, David, Linda, you're welcome to stick around if you want to talk. Where we are casting the movie Metroid. Now, Ty, when you decided that Metroid was going to be the Segway King over here. Always gotta find that way to move. So when we were discussing like different films and different IPs that we wanted to bring to film, I have a question for you because it kind of affects the thought that I have as far as some of my casting. How do you visualize this Metroid movie? Were you thinking live action? Because I went back and I revisited your list earlier.
Yes.
And
so live action.
You did say that you specifically said one as animation. So this one, I was like, well, he didn't specify animation on this one. And some things came to mind. And I know we talked recently when we were talking about casting before, some of our other things. Give us a quick list of the roles that you wanted to cast for our...
So of course we had to cast Samus Aran.
Of course.
Gotta have Samus.
We needed to cast Ridley.
Okay.
For some reason, I thought we needed to cast Mother Brain, but now that I think about it, I don't think she ever speaks. Am I making that up? Did I dream that?
So technically you're right, and technically you're wrong.
I was about to say. So,
okay.
So
in my movie, she gonna talk.
Right.
So
I was like, in mine, she is because she's an AI, and with Mother Brain being an AI, you can absolutely have it, and that is why I asked, because I did come up with a voice actress that I want to be the voice of what I want Mother Brain to do in this. But I actually added casting.
So there's an argument to be had for Mother Brain, because you can keep Mother Brain as she is, as just big fucking brain monster, right? Or or you can also talk about MB from Other M.
Now that is another part that we'll kind of dive into a little bit, because of course
it's the prequel. It's the prequel to the other Metroid game.
I'm about to say I don't know nothing
I
about
got you.
Metroid. See, I can't
got
just be
you,
adding
bro.
people. I did research on the people who Ty said to research,
and that's fine. And so look, okay, so with Metroid, we're talking about 35. Okay, so realistically, we're talking about like 35 years of games that exist for Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where like Mother Brain to be the AOL. I love that.
No, it needs to be one of the TikTok ladies that does the voices, like that does the reading, the text.
Oops, got your trauma.
Oh, here she is reading this.
You know what?
I want my Mother Brain to be the AOL You Got Mail guy.
Exactly.
You know what? There's a couple of ways that this would work. So, okay, so we had Samus Aran.
Okay.
You said Ridley.
Right.
Mother Brain.
Yeah.
And what was the last category for us on this one?
Director / style of the movie.
Okay.
You know what?
So hold on.
I'll be Ridley. I volunteer as
Are we not talking about Adam at all?
Wait. Because, and this is where it gets interesting. 35 years of video games with the name Metroid in the title.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, there's a big question right at the beginning. What story are you going to tell?
Exactly. See, that's the question right there.
And I felt that, in fairness, and I'm only giving you a hard time because I can, Jeff. I rarely get an opportunity to truly give you shit. I went
the
with
relishing. I'm living for it.
What are you talking about? I'm not enjoying this at all.
With the
because
biggest
here's the
smile
thing.
on his face.
No. Here's the funny thing. Y'all don't know. Jeff still crushed the fucking assignment. I know this, and it pisses me off to no end. Still, but because of that, like, it is a big deal to say like which story you're going to tell and how you're going to go about it. Now, you could go through the timeline and, figure out, okay, this one before that one comes after this. This was a side story. This takes place between these games, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so when you get to characters like David was asking about, I actually casted Malkovich. I casted Malkovich because he's going to be in my movie. And so I have a star by his name. I have special casting for that. But like I said, it also depended on whether this was going to be live action, animated, etc. Because there's a lot of different things. Because Mother Brain, even Ridley, is going to be CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so to me, Ridley was just a voice. Because Ridley was just a voice, that made me think, well, hell, I want to give Mother Brain a voice. Ergo, Mother Brain has a voice. So I'm all for the casting, and I will even go as far if you guys want this time, because we are creating something that doesn't actually exist, and we have to be careful that we don't give big studios our ideas. So how do we copyright this video to say they can't steal our idea? I guess it's published, so we're good right there, right?
Yeah. So I think what we should do first is we should list the director, the style, and what story you would cover.
Okay.
And I feel like that should at least give a leeway of what we're thinking as far as, hey, this is the direction the story's going to go. And so when the cast fits in, you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Okay, that works. And who wants to start this one? Who started last
So when
time?
you say style, are you just gonna tell me like a similar type of movie that you want it to be like, basically?
You could either do a genre or a similar movie. Either
Okay.
way.
Because I like, if I'm not mistaken, Ty is probably going to go with space horror.
Yes.
This is going to be a horror movie for him.
Yes.
And so his director is probably going to be leaning more towards that genre, where mine is going to be all visual. So my director is all about the visuals.
Now this might, you could say this has nothing to do with this because this is something that could potentially never happen anyway, but you would have to tread very lightly going to make it a full-on space horror, just because the fact that you are going to have people who have no idea who Metroid or what Metroid is, and are going to be like, oh, they're just ripping off Alien.
Stop putting stipulations on our movie.
I'm just saying,
but
like,
here's
I'm
the thing.
covering ground.
The game ripped off Aliens.
Yes.
I know, but like,
so
you'd have to be careful with how you portrayed the game. Yes. And like, yeah, because if you're not careful, it could absolutely end up just being a ripoff of Aliens.
It would be the Aliens remake we actually wanted,
as long as it's got butts in the seats. So you know what, Ty, this was your pick, so we will let you start, and I will not put any words in your mouth, and I will keep your movie out of my mouth. You tell us your director and style for this movie.
All right. Well, you've already spoiled it. It is going to be a space horror. I want this directed by James Wan. I think he would be an excellent choice as far as having a horror theme that still has heart.
Huh. And was there a particular James Wan film that you used as reference? Because now, granted, he's done a good bit of like.
He has. I don't know if I picked just a single one. I just know that he's done a lot, and he's done them to a point that I'm like, I appreciate and love what he's bringing to the genre.
Okay, so he's Insidious, he's Conjuring, he's Saw, he's Aquaman.
He knows how to fuck with your heart and your brain.
Yeah,
like there's psychological stuff involved.
Okay. Now, see, my wife got me to actually watch The Conjuring, and she tricked me because Patrick Wilson is in it. And I was like, oh, Patrick Wilson, I know him. He was in Watchmen and other movies that I've seen. Okay, let me check this out. And then I was like, wait, what? What's happening? And then I was like, he's also in this movie, and it's a crossover with this, and these movies are tied to the. So what do I need to watch to enjoy this? Yeah, she got me. She tricked me to like 6 movies. But also James Wan, he did Megan.
Yep.
So the new one that's out, Megan, that's him as well. Okay. So yeah, definitely someone who would be quite capable of getting us there. Cool. Anything else you want to add on with that, or? So
as far as the story, I'm going to do the first published game. I'm going to do the original Super Metroid, where Samus Aran is being sent to a planet to stop the space pirates from weaponizing the Metroids.
Okay.
So that's going to be the basis of this horror.
Okay, starting with the that's so you're using Super Metroid as your base.
Yes.
Okay. Make my little notes here so we get overlap. All right. Jeff, do you want to go next or would you like for me to go next?
I can go next.
Okay, what you got, Jeff?
For my director, I wanted to go with somebody who I can trust with a big budget, who may not hasn't really gotten the opportunity to do like something world building that's going to be able to spawn sequel after sequel, but she does great work. She had a great movie out this year. She got completely snubbed this year. I'm going with Gina Prince Blythewood of The Woman
Yeah,
King
buddy.
fame. That's her latest movie, but she's done a lot of really, really, really great movies. And I think that because of the different style of movies that she's done, she would be someone who I can trust to kind of put her own spin on this movie. And basically, my movie style, I don't really know what the style is, but it's like a cross between Run Lola Run and Edge of Tomorrow.
Ooh,
So I just
like
wanted to have like
Ooh.
I wanted to have a lot of pace. I wanted to feel like a side scrolling game almost, and just how fast everything is moving. Like when she's in the suit, I want I want camera not camera shaking, throw up camera shaking, but
I
I
got you.
want you to feel
Hard,
what
not
it's
hardcore
like.
Henry,
Yeah,
but like Saving
right,
Private Ryan. You want to think that
right,
explosion happened
right. Like
behind
we
you.
are in the mix.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I told y'all he's gonna fucking crush the assignment. Like what I tell you. Because I'm already hyped about that movie. These are two movies, two versions I would already watch, and it sounds great, and I'm loving it. Yeah, that's actually a really good director because you know what? I enjoyed the hell out of Old Guard, and I think she understands a female lead, an action female, and it's gonna work, and it's gonna be believable, and I
The fighting
think
is going to be good. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, that's damn good pick. Okay. All right, let me try to follow those two home runs. I'm about to just bunt, get on first. Like shit. We just get on the plate right here. The rest of my casting may work out, but now I'm kind of like rethinking. Glad I picked multiple things here. For my director style, the very first thing that came to mind, like I said, for mine, the big thing for me is that this is a large budget space opera. There's a lot of story, and if it does have the opportunity to span multiple movies, I want again someone who's got experience, and I really like that point. Someone who's got experience with the budget. But for me, one of the big things was going to be the visuals, and I wanted to have enough creepy but enough action because you are supposed to be scared that these are aliens, but you also have a female lead and you have action because she's kind of a badass. I started to lean in towards something like The Cell, but as I researched it more, I actually ended up landing with Francis Lawrence. Francis Lawrence handled all of the Hunger Games. He did Red Sparrow, and if you've heard me on this show before, you know that I'm just a sucker for that particular movie. I like all of the like La Femme Nikita style movies. I like the female assassin genre, if that's a thing, like Gunpowder Milkshake. I like that movie, and I like those types of movies. So this was definitely something that I was kind of excited to cast, and Francis Lawrence has done well with, he's had big budget films, he's had action films, and I think he can deliver what I'm looking for out of my movie. As far as the style, like I said, for me, it's going to be a big thing about visuals. But when you have Constantine, and that was the other influence. He also directed the movie Constantine, and having that little moment where we like get to see what hell looks like and the way the angels were presented, the way the devil was presented. all of the visuals that were involved every time Constantine used magic. So I feel like this guy's gonna show me what I want to see. So Francis Lawrence.
And then what'd you say for style? You want like the Femme Nikita?
It'll be La Femme Nikita action, but I would say lean more towards space opera. Red Sparrow, Hunger Games. That was the, because there's not going to be a lot of like, this isn't a huge cast in this. It's a lot of like CGI. So we are.
All right. So I think we're going to Samus Aran.
Oh, hold on. Wait a minute.
David, David, you want to?
David's having it. Okay.
I got one.
David, see, and I figured this was something he could handle. He could jump in this one.
I got a little bit of a fringe pick, but I want you to follow me on this one, right?
All right.
So for director, I'm thinking David Toohey. Pitch Black,
Okay.
Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah.
Like I still want this to be a space horror type deal, but I want it to be a little bit more dark, I guess.
Now, are you leaning in more on the action?
For what I'm thinking, it's going to be a little bit more action.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, because I kind of want to, because like if I'm gonna like make this like a series, right? I want to start at the beginning, so definitely want to touch on Other M, since that is canonically the first one. So yeah.
Oh, that was, you know what? Damn it. I did not mention that one part, and I want you all to see. Other M was my but see, and that was because I did already spoil say that I casted Malkovich. So clearly I needed Other M to be the one. But yes. Okay. I like it. So obviously, David, I like that right there, because you would be on Other M. Like, we there.
My other choice would have been like Fusion, but at the same time, it still needed setup. So I want to cover that.
See, and the funny thing was, I kind of felt like you could probably take the original Metroid and Other M and kind of mash it, like take half of Other M, like kind of go towards the middle of Other M and run up to like the middle of Metroid. And take parts of this story, move it into this, let some of it be flashback, just to kind of help build that up and get the pace going. But you don't want to go so far that you lose the viewer.
Yeah. And that, and like Other M already has like just a lot of shit going on at like by itself. Like
So
you probably wouldn't even need it
too much into that. Okay. I like that. Linda, you want to chime in? You got anybody in mind?
I am horrible with names and everything. But I have a vision in mind, I guess. I would love to see, rather than it being straight like horror, I would rather it see more of a not necessarily humorous, but a clever action adventure with some horror theme elements. So something more akin to like earlier Joss Whedon of like Firefly era with less sexism and sexual harassment. So something along that term where Samus doesn't take herself in the situation too seriously. She has a job and she knows she can do it, and she can crack some jokes along the way, kind of deal. But there's also plenty of action and just kind of clever lines and enough stuff to keep you watching,
now,
kind of deal.
Here's the trick question.
And enough tension and stuff in there as well.
Are you going to use Joss Whedon?
No. If you had asked me like 20 years ago, I'd be like, okay. But like,
20 years ago, I'd been hell yeah.
You know, well, I guess not quite 20 years ago, but you know what I mean. 15 years ago.
No, I absolutely understand. That's why I mean, specifically
like early Joss Whedon.
Firefly is a really good example, and I can absolutely see this could be lighthearted enough,
See, and I
Because it has the aliens, obviously, you
I
can
would-
easily go the horror route. But yeah,
I would almost shift it more to the tone of Serenity, where it was a little more serious, especially because it was a movie. It had a point it had to make in a much shorter time frame than with Firefly, where it's a TV show. So you
Yeah.
have more time to like expand on it, make it more humorous, you know, have different places, etc. Whereas Serenity, yeah, it has a point A to point B kind of deal, and you don't have a lot of time to deviate. So you have to kind of stick in the same kind of thing. But Serenity, in my opinion, had a little bit of a darker, more serious tone than just something that was a little more lighthearted, like Firefly.
okay.
I
Something
in a similar genre as like Serenity.
If we come up with a good director for that's not Joss Whedon, I will let you know.
That's the
will
problem.
Be thinking, no, I will be thinking along those lines, because it's just like, if you like Serenity, you'll also like, and I'll see what movies come up. And
because like I love watching. I love movies. I love TV shows, all that kind of stuff. But I am horrible with remembering names.
The
And
That's
Duffer
all right.
Brothers?
Do what?
The Duffer
Duffer?
Brothers?
I don't know who that is.
The guys behind Stranger Things.
I guess
That's kind of the closest I can think of at the moment.
I'm a little jaded there because I really didn't super love Stranger Things. I've watched it.
Okay, what about the Russo brothers?
I was about to say, honestly, when you said the Duffer Brothers, the Russo brothers actually came to mind right after that, as being, you know what? I will put a star by that one, and we'll come back. And if you go back and kind of look at some of the stuff
because
they've done,
it looks like they've done like a lot. That's because like Joss Whedon had his hand in the DC universe. Just throw the MC universe instead. That's about the same thing.
Yeah.
They also, let's see, they did work on like Arrested Development, Community. So
I
yeah,
think that comedy you're looking for comes from them.
Yeah, and they as oversaturated as the superhero market is, they do have a fairly good balance in the Avengers movies and whatnots, between seriousness and comedic relief.
Yeah,
and action.
Okay, so that might work. Then we'll put a star by that one, and if we come up with something better, we'll come back to it. Ty, who do you want to go to next? Do you want to go to Ridley, Mother Brain?
Let's go Samus Aran.
Samus, okay.
And speaking of the MCU, I'm gonna go with Florence Pugh as my Samus Aran. I think she can have the confidence needed in order to portray the best bounty hunter around, but I think she can also have a lot of heart, and she can also portray a lot of I don't want to say fear, but that intensity. So like what was that movie she just said? It was like Darling.
Don't worry, darling.
Don't
worry, darling. Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like she can kind of fit all of it. So she can give the brevity when there's brevity. She can give the fear when there's fear. She can give the intensity when it's intense.
Okay, let me get this one up so everybody can see that boy. So look at that. He done already got everybody on the list. That's why I love doing these shows. Okay.
Now I gotta admit, I'm super excited for who Jeff picked.
Yeah, that's a pick right there. Just whatever he come up with. No pressure though. No pressure.
It's my turn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Who's your Sam? Did
My
you get his
pick-
Samus? His Samus was
Florence Pugh. I think that's a good pick. I'm going with Oscar winner Ariana DeBose.
See, man, listen. God bless you.
She got the haircut, or she looked good with the haircut. I feel like she got the body because she's a dancer, so she can do the whole muscular, like, you know how we always do for the dudes when they take their shirt off and everybody show, okay, I was on the Marvel workout. It's like hers gonna be crazy too when she come off the mission, and it's gonna be what they tried to do on Halo, but better.
But see, I will say this one would be much easier to accept.
Yeah, but I think just like she has the intensity, she has the chops to do like if we're gonna have some light moments or whatever, she can do the banter back and forth. I think she got enough attitude for the kind of Metroid movie that I would want to make. So yeah, that's my choice.
It's a great choice.
Okay. Just for reference, I know you got it coming on the list. But say that name one more time.
Ariana DeBose.
Ariana DeBose.
I know that y'all was like, how you gonna get a black one for this?
No, honestly, I thought about it, and because I'm always curious to see if I can come up with what you're going to come up with, and not the way I went, but I can see that. So I kind of struggled with this one. I'm not going to lie, because I went back and forth a few times because Samus is a modified human, and she's 6'3", 200 pounds. Now I know the beauty of like cinema, everything they can do on the camera and how they can make somebody look one way and look the other. But as Jeff pointed out, you know what I'm saying, trying to think of somebody that could actually like come in and just like fill the role. And I had something in mind and I was like, that's a little cliche. And then I looked at it again. I was like,
yes.
No,
never mind.
Right, no, because I like I said, that was gonna be cliche. And then I was like, it can't be too old because this is gonna have to last for a little while. And if we can actually run this and make it a series and have multiple movies, they got to stick around. As far as like, I just had to get over the fact that she was going to be 6'3", 200 pounds because I couldn't find anybody that I liked that wasn't a wrestler. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, you know what, Jade Cargill would be awesome for this. But I was like, I got to see her act in anything else before I could go that route. Can't just pick it off the looks. But I was really impressed with the latest Tomb Raider series.
Okay.
When they redid that movie, I thought Alicia Vikander did an excellent job. And if nothing else, she convinced me much, like that Lara Croft was every bit a badass.
Yeah.
And I absolutely believe that she can be the greatest bounty hunter in space. And if you knock her down, she is absolutely getting up. She is not giving up till this mission's complete. And I think she is going to be fantastic in this role. Maybe she's willing to like change her hair or dye her hair or whatever the case may be. But that was my pick. And I'm very happy with that.
Nah, she was good. I think that Tomb Raider movie got a lot of unnecessary flack. It's a great airplane movie.
It was a good movie. Like maybe not run out and go to the theater release day, but it still holds up. And it had all the potential to make a sequel.
Movies to show on Saturday.
Yeah. Movies for guys who like movies. I remember when that was a thing. But Deus Ex Machina. Well, not even Deus Ex Machina, just Ex Machina, Man from U.N.C.L.E., and Tomb Raider. All examples of why she's going to be great for it. So that was me for Samus.
I can see it.
David.
Yes.
Any thoughts? You got somebody you could put in for that?
I do actually. And it's kind of a no-brainer to me because you need a tall, strong, statuesque type woman.
Almost who I cast. Like
I mean, obviously, like the suit's going to be on for most of the movie, but you want somebody when you look in that visor can put the fear of God in you, right?
Okay.
Gwendolyn Christie.
Yeah,
I was gonna say earlier, I'm like, you wanted the Game of Thrones chick, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
How old is she though?
I don't know.
She's no spring chicken, but
she's not. But I do think that she could pull it off.
She's 44.
And honestly, when I say I started to do exactly what you thought, that was literally, and that's what I wanted to point out.
Because she is actually 6'3".
6'3", 200 pounds. I did want someone who fit the role. Yeah.
But go ahead, because I kind of got a split thing with this as well.
No. By all means, because I think you summed up, like you said, somebody that could put the fear.
So, but that is while she is in the suit. However, right, we also have to think about the parts in the other end where she is not in the suit, mainly like the actual like flashbacks that she has. Right. So somebody just a little bit younger, probably not as she probably won't be as tall because like the Chosen training hadn't kicked in yet. Daisy Ridley.
Huh.
Okay.
I'm thinking for a younger Samus, I'm thinking Daisy Ridley could pull that off. Because like, because if we're going by like what she was doing in Star Wars, she got your young, unproven like warrior, right? Warrior type deal, right? But as the story progresses on and all these things start happening in the Samus and you start seeing that weight start to kick in on her, and then you kind of transition into what will become Samus, which will be played by Gwendolyn. Just it's kind of like a floating thing in my head, but in my head it makes sense.
No, I can
like a flashback.
Yeah, so in flashbacks and other like it's mainly just the younger Samus while she's dealing with Adam, because that was her superior officer in the military.
And also, just minor side note, because this was a game series I'm fond of. You could even do, if you're like in the flashback, because in my mind I was thinking like the montage of her learning how to use her suit. If we get into like where she was raised and stuff like that, and how she was raised.
So basically, Gwendolyn Christie, like the old lady on the Titanic.
Well, not even the old lady. See, here's the thing: you have a time where.
I'm just saying how it would be told in the movie, not like in the real game. I just mean like if you do in the movie, you frame it like Gwendolyn Christie is like. It's like she's like Danny Glover. She's like, I'm getting too old for this shit. But then we see flashbacks with like Daisy Ridley, young, like going to work and doing all the stuff you were talking about, like learning how to use the suit and
pretty much.
Okay.
So like because how it's framed like in other M itself, it's just like when certain when certain pivotal things happen in like while you're in the space station, you'll flash back to see like where the context of it is, because specifically whenever like Samus has this fucking interaction with Adam, because Adam's being a fucking dick munch to her, and but then she'll have a flashback of how this is how he always been and blah blah blah, but there's like some kind of meaning behind it or whatever, right? And that's kind of where my head is with that, because you want somebody who is kind of young but still can be kind of brash, who wouldn't deal well with authority figures, but then you go back to current day Samus where she's a little bit more disciplined, a little bit more focused. And I just kind of want like I want some kind of drastic comparison between the two. And that's why I'm thinking Daisy Ridley. And again, it makes sense in my head, but like I don't know. What do you guys think? Get this fucking fly out my face.
No, I like it. I like the flashback idea.
Okay. Because
it's like, it's a good way to get around just telling a straight origin story.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's what I
think that's some of the stuff they was missing, like honestly, in the Halo series, where it was just kind of like, if you didn't play the game, you didn't know what was wrong about it.
Right.
Because you didn't know like really none of the backstory until like episode 8, 9. and then they show you all the stuff about like the kids and stuff. But I was under no impression that them taking their helmets off was a big deal and all that stuff like that just from the show.
Right.
So
They did that super quick. Get that right out the way. Okay, that works. Linda, any thoughts on a Samus?
So I was thinking along the lines of Alexa Vega. I think she goes by Penna Vega now. So no, not that Alexa. That's the wrong one. My actual, I'm gonna unplug that. My actual Alexa is going off. But yeah, Alexa Vega. She is the girl in Spy Kids.
You know what?
She's grown up very well, and she was in Death. Or she wasn't in Death Wish. What was she in? She was in Sin City, the sequel. A Dame to Kill For.
Oh, that's right, she was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they both of them grew up very interesting. So
yeah,
there's
plus we need more Hispanic representation in films. So
nothing wrong with that.
I'm going that route.
And if you, we'll talk later. So yeah, I like. No. I like the casting choice. I think she is. If nothing else, we know she has like the experience doing the action, if you will. Even though it was like light action.
She has lots of experience, and just like if you look at her filmography alone, and it's all kinds of stuff. It's not just like one specific type of movie.
Oh yeah.
So I think she has a good experience to be able to do it. On top of it, once again, like I said, it's the having more diversity as well as casting someone over the age of 30 in there as well. There's a lot of like, younger people that would probably be cast in this role instead. But I mean, she has almost the exact same birthday as me. So she's literally 2 days off. So
no, I think there again, if you want to say somebody is the greatest bounty hunter, you can't drop a kid in and have us believe, because then you're going to get a lot of the Mary Sue complaints and things like that.
It's that good sweet spot where she's not too old,
right?
But she's not too young.
It's believable that she's been doing it for a while and she's good at it. And
from her looks as well, she looks like she's someone who would know what she's doing with that. Yeah. Like she looks believable enough. She's not too hyper feminine looking to where like I think you're just a Barbie. They just put a gun in their hand, but she's still can own the femininity of it as well.
Yeah, I like that.
Plus, she looks really good as a blonde.
I like that mentality. Just like the fact that that's even a thought about the character. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like. Not gonna lie, in my mind, I was like, I do want someone that's gonna look good outside the suit. It's a part of it, you know what I'm saying? But I needed it to be somebody that I could believe could actually kick somebody's ass. I didn't want to get a doll, a pretty face, and put a gun in their hand, like you said. So I think you actually verbalized that much better, and
like if
excellent casting choice for that reason.
I know this goes straight with my old thing with Joss Whedon and Serenity, but if Summer Glau was a little younger, then I'd cast her in there as well. I think she's in her 40s.
That's actually, yeah, that's actually...
Once again, she does a really good job with stuff, and she has lots of experience with action adventure. She has aged really well though too, but so yeah, I'd say either one, Alexa Vega or Summer Glau.
Yeah, she went on to do like Terminator and stuff. So yeah, okay, cool. I like those. You know what? We making some good ass movies over here.
Yes, we are.
It's always the case, man. We just be making great movies. Let me get that one pulled up real quick, like. Always does that. All right, so our next category, Ty.
Ridley.
All right. Now, your thoughts on Ridley as a character for this?
So, I need someone who is going to be cunning. Someone who's going to be is terrifying not because of how he looks, but because of how he thinks.
Okay.
So for that, I'm going with Jamie Campbell Bower. And I'm basing that off of his performance as Vecna from Stranger Things.
Oh, weird dude with the weird eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was the really annoying kid in
Number
Sweeney
one.
Todd.
Yeah, he was the annoying kid in Sweeney Todd.
I
no.
did not make that connection at first because he aged really well. And he wasn't like singing really annoying songs like in Sweeney Todd. Pining wildly in a whiny voice over a girl that he's never actually talked to. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I love Sweeney Todd.
What? Blame the script, not him.
No, because I love the stage play because they play like a more believable looking guy. They always cast someone who doesn't look like he hasn't gone through puberty yet. Like the way he looked in the film looked like a little 12-year-old boy who just discovered boobs.
Yeah, he
and is reacting as such, and that's how it comes
He has
off.
very young features.
And I'm like, oh.
Now,
so
question
bad.
for your
Answer.
Ridley: is this person giving us the voice? Are you going to do a hybrid?
Come here.
Are we doing like an alien bodysuit kind of thing? Because Ridley, being the space pirate that he is, I mean, he's a dragon.
Yeah.
So how do you want to? Because admittedly, this is your movie. If you want to cast him as human, if you want to make him a different race alien, I understand there's going to be some backlash because you change. He was not like that in the game, But
Jack, I can't.
that's why I'm asking. Like, how do you?
Little one.
What were your thoughts there? How did you see that?
So how I envisioned this, I envisioned the motion capture for the dragon, kind of what they did with Benedict Cumberbatch in the Hobbit movie.
Yeah, Smog,
that's right. So just very much his facial reactions, his voice, but the body would be of the dragon.
Okay. All right, I'm with that. Okay, that works. Yeah, I think we got so much from him as Vecna, seeing the way he altered his voice like he did to hit that low timbre to be Vecna.
Yeah.
And then, kind of bringing it back up for the weird orderly that he was. Yeah. Cool.
That's number one.
That works. Jeff,
bring it home, buddy.
How did you handle Ridley?
So I was thinking the same thing in terms of it being like a voice person on a basically like a mocap. And I'm going to go with arguably the greatest voice actor of all time, Cree Summer.
Oh, wait, what? Okay.
I feel like she doesn't get a chance to do like big, crazy stuff. And she's done so many voices. And I think that
she has.
And I think with the pace of my movie, because I want it to be more ramped up, I feel like her voice is going to give it more of a franticness. Whereas like, I didn't want to go with somebody who was going to go like super deep and scary. You know what I mean?
So are you gender bending Ridley, or do you think her voice would be turned out that it would just be neutral?
I'm doing it like Star Trek. This thing from another planet. I'm not going to limit it to Earth's gender constructs.
Okay.
I just want her to do whatever voice she think is the best voice for the character that she's playing. Because for me, I don't really think Ridley's gender is going to be important in my film. So.
It never plays into it. You're right.
Yeah.
It doesn't play into the games either. So.
No, just Ridley's.
I just didn't know if you were assigning a masculinity or femininity, but really you're just saying no, it's just creepy. We don't know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I like that. No, that's
Got me rethinking my
fuck. You are crushing this. You didn't even play the
got me rethinking
game.
my choices. Wait a minute. Okay.
I see it. I see it.
No, I mean, because it's just like it's such out the box thinking that it kind of like oversimplifies my choice. I mean, if I want a voice actor to be the bad guy, I want him to be menacing, not just the bad guy. I want him to be somebody that you could either he could have been your ally or he could have been your enemy. I want Keith David.
I knew you was gonna say that.
Right. Like,
somehow I knew. Somehow I knew.
Come on. How could you not? Like, have you seen Ridley? Yes, I need Keith David. And that's what I'm saying. Like, in a weird way, just hearing the idea of Cree Summers.
See,
like,
Sam, there's a problem with that though. Keith David's too busy helping out the Third Street Saints. So,
He's also busy fighting for Earth in Mass Effect.
Right. He's always busy doing. I mean, I went through about 4 or 5 different choices, but I finally settled on Keith David just because, again, I did want that deep temper. I looked at Ridley, I looked at that image, and for me, I wasn't necessarily thinking mocap. I like that as a very good idea. I was thinking mine was going to be complete CGI, and it was just going to be the voice work that comes in.
I say a lot of the times these days, if it's something that is like a CGI character, they will mocap the face and insert the facial expressions. That's kind of like a standard right now.
Yeah, and of course it helps match up the movement of the mouth to the words and things like that. Yeah. So I absolutely get that part of it, but I wasn't thinking like in terms of likeness or anything like that. And
yeah, because it is a big purple dinosaur.
Right. And so I was like, yeah, that's going to be completely CGI. And I just wanted that menacing voice. So I went, yeah, Keith David.
Word. Okay.
Super simple. Like I don't even have to expand on that. Like,
nah, I can see it. I can see it. I can see it.
I wish I had something like really, good to bring to the conversation about it.
No. When you bring on somebody like Keith David, the resume speaks for itself.
Right.
Like, look, when you hit a home run, all you gotta do is run around the bases.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a simple one for me.
Don't need to do nothing.
David, so Ridley.
So I did think about this for a while, and while my first instinct was to go Benedict Cumberbatch because yeah. I decided to go another way and cast Willem Dafoe.
Ooh.
and not for the reason you think.
I'm a bit of a dragon myself.
Yeah. So
David, he's gonna be dragon.
Oh my god.
Fun
Antichrist.
fact. Fun fact.
No, please
look it up yourself.
If this is about the Madonna movie, please
just go look it up yourself. All I'm gonna say is, Linda, I get it. Antichrist, move on.
Oh my god. But the reason why. God damn it!
That is
so the reason why specifically, and you would think like, oh, because Green Goblin, no, because of for some reason his performance in Netflix's Death Note was the one that.
Honestly,
I know.
Yeah, no,
I know.
Yeah.
It's such a weird place to pull from, but like the way that he carried that movie on his back.
Oh, I mean, he didn't have a choice, David.
He didn't have a choice.
Like,
he didn't have a choice.
Like there was actually no room on the door. Okay,
Yep.
This is unlike Titanic. Like there was no space.
Yeah, so
I absolutely get
like
that.
the way that he carried that movie on his back while still somehow keeping the character of Ryuk. No, get your ass in here. Be my dragon.
I thought you said beat my dragon for a second. I'm like, no. David.
No.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
Linda, what did you have for?
So I had two. I'm going to tell you the one I had first, and I'm going to tell you who I'm actually going with.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thought I had was Jim Cummings.
Okay.
Jim Cummings does a lot.
Okay.
He
Okay,
does
all right.
a
see it.
huge range and variety of characters. But as hilarious as it would be for the voice of Winnie the Pooh to also be Ridley,
That could just
I
make it even more scary.
Yeah.
I would have to
Oh,
go.
bother.
I would have to go just because of the depth of his voice over Jim Cummings. Phil Lamar.
Ooh.
That was,
okay.
you know what?
All
That
right.
was actually my backup.
I see.
Behind
see.
Keith David, that was actually my backup.
I see.
And I was using from Primal, the Genndy Tartakovsky whatnot.
That's a good one.
I like that. I like that.
That is a good cast.
I saw Phil Lamar when I was living in LA. I was playing basketball at the park. It was just like a whole bunch of black dudes. And he like walked by. He was like wearing a soccer referee uniform because I guess he was refereeing his kid's game. And somebody was like, "Is that Phil Lamar?" And the whole game stopped. I'm talking about we out there. It's like Bloods, all kinds of hood dudes out there. They're like, "Hey, Phil, we love you, man." I'm like, dang, like this dude is like the king for real, for real.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it is like, it's funny because the very first time I remembered even knowing who Phil Lamar was Mad TV as UPS guy.
Oh yeah.
And it was like after that, I was just like, who is this guy? And have just stuck with him. And he has been just the coolest voices of all the coolest things of everybody since. And that's a great pick. That's a fantastic pick.
He's another person who was also in Saints Row. So, there you go.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
He's in, I'm going to say almost everything. Like, if it needs voice work, he's probably a part of it.
He's done so much Marvel stuff, obviously Futurama. Apparently, he even voiced Rick Grimes in an animated film of Walking Dead. He's done Star Wars, Metal Gear, Final Fantasy. Yeah.
He's one of those people, like, you really don't have time to sit and go through his. His.
I mean, honestly, same with Jim Cummings, except.
And Cree, like, between, like, everybody who's, all of our voice actors, I think the two that kind of, like, throw it off here, Jamie Campbell Bower. I think that is a fantastic choice because of who he plays.
White guys.
And Willem Dafoe are the two that probably don't have as much experience, but everybody else was already a voice actor. They're going to come in and nail it just because of the voices that they do already. They have plenty to choose from. Cree Summers is the one that blew my mind because I shame on me for not even like thinking of that. And
like, I will say though, if
Star Trek,
if Tim Curry wasn't like in his 70s, then I'd say Tim Curry. But
Tim Curry would be amazing.
Yeah, that
would be absolutely my pick. So same thing. We'll throw in Joss. This is my pick from 20 years ago. Joss Whedon and Tim Curry.
If they made the movie when it should have been made. I'm with that. I see the vision there. Okay. Let's get that one up real quick just so we can see what everybody's got. And do this by window. There we go. Bam. And this is shaping up to be a pretty good movie. No matter which version you're gonna watch, this is actually damn good watchable movie here. Oh, I'm so mad because I was looking. I'm looking at the like. Wait a minute, y'all can't see. So right here, that Edge of Tomorrow, Run Lola Run. I was actually thinking of Famke Jensen when I was looking through my casting choices for Samus, but of course, like she's a little too old now for the role that I wanted her to be, and so. I was like, it took me away from that, but I'm looking at it here and I'm like, dang, I was on the right. I was going down the right path. That's on me. That's on me. I should have stuck with my guns and stayed where I was. Okay, so Mother Brain. We are up to Mother Brain. Ty.
Yes.
On this one, because you believed initially that it was a fever dream for Mother Brain. Possibly.
Yes, because I remembered her talking for some reason, and I think what probably happened is I was confusing Mother Brain for like a variation of Hal from Space Odyssey 2001. Because that's how I want it to be. I want Mother Brain to be the AI. I mean, she's controlling the base, she's controlling the space pirates, but I want it to seem like she's just the AI. You're not suspecting her of being the mastermind. So I want to go with Tilda Swinton from her time on Constantine when she played the Angel Gabriel. Like this, a very calm and almost angelic voice that you don't realize is fucking up some shit.
Right.
And
that twist. Yes.
Yes. So in this horror, like Samus is having to rely on Mother, not Mother Brain, just Mother, in order to get out of what she's been getting through, not realizing that Mother's been setting her up to fail. Like it's got to be one of those things where it's not obvious that it's a trap. And then finally you find out that Mother is Mother Brain, and there is a physical body attached. It's not just a digital AI.
Ooh, nice twist. Okay. I'm telling you, man. I don't know when we gonna do it, but we gonna get our treatments together. We gonna sell a movie. I don't know which one of these movies it's gonna be, but I see it coming. Because
shit, you know what we could do? We could do a kaleidoscope version where you could literally there's 5 versions of the movie, and you can watch it again, but it's so different each time.
Yeah, and actually, you could almost go across the board, and with the exception of style, you could probably match any of these directors with any of our Samus, any of our Ridleys, and still have a bang up movie. That is awesome. Okay, cool. All right, Jeff. So you said early on that your Mother Brain was going to talk.
We will hear Mother Brain's voice, but it will not be talking outwardly, because in my movie, it's kind of like you're gonna be switching back and forth between the perspective of Samus and Mother Brain, right? So we're going to hear Mother Brain's voice when Mother Brain is concocting whatever plans and strings and tests that turn the traps that our main character is going to have to do her Run Lola Run through, right?
Okay.
And so because of that, I was going to go with someone who kind of had that same feel that you were talking about for me, Ty, is Whoopi Goldberg was kind of where I started, because I wanted to be a voice that's calm, calculating. I was thinking about her voice as Gaia on Captain Planet.
Right.
Yeah.
It was very like, but then I was like, not quite robotic enough for me. And then I started thinking there's an actress she's newly actress, but she's been a singer. She did a couple of albums around this concept of her being the archandroid. And so she has some things that she's done where you can hear her give kind of a robotic tone of voice. Janelle Monáe is going to be my Mother Brain.
I see it.
Oh, did you already say who it was?
Yeah, Janelle Monáe.
Oh, Janelle Monáe. Yes.
I see it.
Yeah, I mean, because she can do that robotic, and then also like she can have that. Because did you guys see Glass Onion?
Mm-hmm.
I have not watched it yet, but I'm a big fan.
Janelle Monáe is fantastic in that movie.
That turn that you're talking about, I think that's why it works, because while she is
oh my god!
You know what?
Wow.
I'm not mad about.
I wouldn't be mad.
I would love a Jim Henson alien. Like I would love a Jim.
I'm actually not mad about the Jim Henson
Ridley.
alien.
Like give me that. I
I'm
love
really
Jim
not
Henson
upset
puppetry.
about the Jim Henson.
Make it a musical, and I'm in.
That's hilarious.
Especially if you're gonna cast Ariana. Especially if you're gonna cast Lady Gaga. But I'll switch her to Ariana DeBose. You can still make it a musical.
Yeah. That could
That would be funny.
Huh.
Oh,
all right.
Muppet movies.
Damn, I like that pick, Janelle Monáe. Yeah, I like that pick for that role and what she would be doing. Okay, so we're just gonna do what was it? That Silver Lining. What was that damn movie?
A Star is Born.
Yeah, we're just gonna do A Star is Born in Space.
A Metroid is Born.
I mean, a Metroid is Born. You know what? That would be like the fourth sequel. Yeah, just
Metroid
with Muppets. You know what? One human actor,
what?
everyone else is Muppets.
Miss Piggy stars as Samus, and still make it a musical.
But okay, if you do that one, you still have to have like one human character. So we'll come back to that. I see another movie forming where we have like a whole Muppet cast and one human person. We can make something work with that. Yeah, Miss Piggy Samus.
Be karate chopping the shit out of everybody.
I was about to say Miss Piggy Samus is hard.
Obviously, Ridley would have to be the human, and it would have to be Willem Dafoe. Just Willem Dafoe.
There you go. It could actually.
I mean, Miss Piggy is low key kind of toxic because she be karate chopping the shit out of Kermit. That's supposed to be her boyfriend.
I mean, because does Kermit deserve it? That's the question.
Not does he deserve it. Wait a minute. Okay, so I am. Let's see. So am I up? Yes, I am up. So
David's gonna like my pick, by the way. Just saying.
Given that I pointed out, and for those of you who may not be aware, I genuinely believe that there's so much influence from the story of Aliens, the movie Aliens, directed by Ridley Scott. That's just so like on the nose. They didn't even try to hide it. I think they did everything but say this was inspired. And for that reason, I felt like Mother Brain needed to. I wanted a little homage, and Mother Brain was going to. In my movie, she is actually going to speak. There will be much more contact. We will find out a little bit earlier on that she's got hands in the pot, and she's the one pulling a lot of these strings. And a very expected casting. Got to give it to Sigourney Weaver. I think you do a good job of paying homage to what she brought to this franchise as a whole, because when you talk about space, aliens, and female empowerment and like having the badass female lead, clearly they were basing it off of Aliens, and that was Sigourney Weaver as Ridley. And as a result, I think that she deserves a part of this movie. I think the part that she plays, given what she's able to do with her voice now, I think it would be, again, kind of in the same boat. She has the right timbre, the right cadence, but she can also be very threatening with her voice. And some of her more recent work, she's actually been the villain a couple times, and she comes off menacing as hell.
You remember her in Holes?
Yeah. Like even going back there. But the first one that came to mind was the one with Michelle Rodriguez, where she is basically like this twisted scientist and changes Michelle Rodriguez like an unplanned gender reassignment. So she was the main villain in that, and that was a pretty. If you have not seen that movie, I would definitely say check it out. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It'll come to me here in a bit, but that was a really good. I think it's actually called The Assignment. Yeah, I think it's The Assignment, and Sigourney Weaver's the main villain in that, and she is just terrifying in that, and I think it would be great. So that's my pick. Sigourney Weaver.
I like it. I like it.
I thought about it, but she didn't meet certain requirements for my cast. Unfortunately,
I understood.
I wonder why.
You know what? I get it. I get it. And I have to say that I still absolutely like that Janelle Monáe pick. So that is, you're good. You know what? I could honestly say I would probably go watch that movie just because Janelle Monáe is going to be in it. I need to see her get turned into that AI or something, but nonetheless. So David,
Yes.
what would you do with Mother Brain in this? Would you let her just be a Mother Brain, or is she going to have a voice? Is she going to talk?
So this one's actually kind of difficult because of the nature of Other M. Because of the fact that the Mother Brain in that game is very much an android and is operating as a humanoid android for most of the game up until the end. So I'm in two minds of it, right? So the first mind of it is just have somebody as the android just walking around doing the MB thing, and then after the transformation be voice acted by another actress. So for that scenario, I am thinking that who was I thinking? I just had it in my head and I lost it all of a sudden.
So you would want like an actual android walking around to be Mother
Yeah.
Brain before seeing the actual body. Okay.
Dang, I didn't even know that was an option.
I've never.
Well,
I just
there
remember.
again, 35 years of games, there is a game where that is how it plays out.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so, in fairness to you, that's why I was kind of saying, like, I need to see Janelle Monáe as the human walking around.
Well, that's what I was saying, because I
before
was
she was
thinking
just a
I was
brain.
going to do something like that. But then I was like, I don't want to piss off the gamers if that ain't no real thing.
No,
because they'll be like, Mother Brain was never walking, and she's black.
Because
that's the thing. Like, there's a twist in
Yeah.
it, so you end up kind of combining. Well, that's what I was saying. Like, for me, I used Other M as my basis, but there was a way to take parts of this, and in my head, I was like, let's do episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's do episode 4, where there's all this story that exists before the story we're telling. And then there's stuff that happens afterwards. So we have the options of how we want to move. And Other M was kind of the best point, in my opinion, where we can get a little bit of backstory, a little bit of main story, but we can alter it to focus in on the Metroid story by building up. This is how it starts. This is where we started. This is where we are.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I did just remember who.
Okay, cool.
So for MB, the android, I'm thinking Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yes.
You know what?
Yes.
You would say her.
Yeah, and that's also just to piss Linda off. No.
No, I have no problem with her. I just know she's one of your types that you like of I'm trying to think of the description for it. But it's a certain type of white actress, and you like that look about them.
Meanwhile,
and anytime there's an actress like that, you're like, oh my God, she's the best.
Okay.
Same.
But mainly,
no, I'm good with that. Absolutely. Like, I'm like, that works for that role perfectly.
That's where I'm coming from with it, not of any kind of bias.
I know. I'm picking at you.
I know. But it's more so because,
I've gotten
like,
picked at a lot. Okay, this episode, so I'm picking at you. Okay, there we go.
The main reason I picked her is because she and MB actually carry a lot of similarities. Like, just her acting normally is just she carries a lot of MB energy. So I just would have her act normally.
Yeah, I mean, that's funny because I'm like, that's Kate without the hyper violence.
Yes.
Just regular violence for her works, and she's still so stoic. Yeah.
But then after, like, you know, all the events happen, and then, like, MB becomes Mother Brain, then, you know, I mean, obviously it's a no-brainer, Sigourney Weaver. it's a no-brainer. I
Yeah.
don't know who else I would.
And you know what? I almost feel like that fits having Sigourney. If Sigourney Weaver were to put her consciousness into a other form,
Mhm.
I think like a downloaded Sigourney Weaver is Mary Elizabeth Weinstein.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that fits.
But now we come to the other scenario where if I just decide to forego the android part altogether. So if that's the case, then Sigourney Weaver won't work in this particular instance because it'll just be AI voice all over like intercoms or whatever, right? So in that particular case, Viola Davis.
Okay.
Because in that particular instance, the AI sounds more like an Amanda Waller type character in my head,
Yeah.
than like a Sigourney Weaver.
No,
So are you wanting Amanda Waller threatening the entire time, or
I'm wanting.
how are you envisioning this?
So I want the cold and calculating Amanda Waller before the threats, and then once we get to Endgame, that's when the threats start kicking in.
Okay.
So for a good 60% of the movie, I want Amanda Waller at like a 30%. And then once we get to that 70%, kick it up to 60, and then at Endgame, and then we're at 100%.
So we got her sitting at the table with Bruce Wayne talking about, here's the files, I know what you do, blah, 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 blah. Just very matter of factly, this is how it is.
Yes.
And then later on, she's like, I have this remote and I will blow your goddamn head off if you don't do what I say.
Yes. And then we have rest in peace, the zipline guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I see it. And I think that absolutely works. Linda, how would you handle Mother Brain for your movie?
So I go a similar route to Jeff. You're the one. I believe you're the one who said no. I don't. Someone said it was more of along the lines of like the soothing kind of voice or whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah, I
think
I'm waiting for one of y'all to speak up and say which one it was.
Well, I think both Ty and Jeff.
Okay. I'm going a similar kind of route. And honestly, when I say her name, I mean she speaks for herself, literally. Jennifer Hale.
I'm good. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
You got it.
I told you, David. I told you'd like this pick.
Now I'm gonna really bring up a really hard-hitting question, and I need y'all to take it seriously. We had someone in the comments talk about doing a Muppets version of this. Mm-hmm. Which Muppet's gonna play Mother Brain?
Which Muppet?
If Miss Piggy is Samus Aran, who is Mother Brain?
Kermit.
Okay. All right.
Honestly, no. I think
Swedish Chef. I'm just playing.
Either Gonzo or the female from the band.
Janice.
Yeah.
You know, it's Swedish Chef.
And then laser starts shooting. It's like and then doors open and just like a bunch of.
You know what? What about what is the Bunsen and
Beaker?
Beaker.
Yeah, Bunsen.
I want Beaker. So just to throw this out there, I don't know if there's any space for this, but because I did Other M, there is a very important character named Malkovich.
Yep.
And Malkovich he's part of the Federation,
the Galactic Federation.
The Galactic Federation, which is basically like the equivalent of their, space military and that sort of thing. So you have the space pirates, and then you have the Galactic Federation, and of course they're competing. And at one point, Samus Aran, she got a lot of training and whatnot because she was part of the Galactic Federation. While she was there, Malkovich was like her commanding officer and all of that. So I actually, depending on, it's really weird because I kind of feel like these two people, I want them both in the movie, at different points. Because I think one of them fits for some of the flashback scenes. And I didn't I mean, like, honestly, I'm kind of okay with whoever gets cast as young Samus. But today Samus, I have someone else, you know, like today Samus is Alicia Vikander, and then of course young Samus is whoever they cast that gets the role. When we have young Malkovich, I wanted Joel Kinnaman. And I was actually looking. Joel Kinnaman is Rick Flag from Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
try to remember that. But I was actually
the lead in Altered Carbon. If you watch that,
and that's where it came from for me. Altered Carbon, his fluidity to kind of be multiple people, I thought worked really well. And there's some major story points for him, and so I needed someone who could give me multiple people there.
No, Jack.
The older version, Timothy Oliphant. He is
that works.
Yeah, I feel like those are two versions of the same guy with like a little bit of a gap for us to see Samus age. And so you have to like move the actor as well. And I think having, you know, when we come back around and we see Malkovich again in the midst of this story, it'll be Timothy Oliphant. When we see him initially, it will be Joel Kinnaman. And I wanted those two people. So that was the only part of the casting that, you know, wasn't there. But I just want to throw that out there for those people who are watching, because I thought it was a nice little addition. David, I know you had kind of mentioned and thought about Malkovich. Did you have any thoughts on who you would want to be Malkovich? Or
Yes, I did actually, and I actually have two different castings. One obvious and one not so obvious. The obvious one, once I say it, you'll kind of, I hope you kind of get it. And then the other one, I'll have to explain a little bit if you can't see it. So the first one is Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
I'm down with it. Whatever it is. I'm not even really listening.
I don't even know who Malkovich is. Yes.
Right. Wait. Does the role involve him being shirtless? You know, I don't care. I'll take it either way. I'll take what I can get.
Not really, but you know, I'm sure we can write it in somehow.
We can figure it out.
They both gonna be getting out of one of them little milk baths that they be taking to heal their bodies.
Listen, even better. that means he shouldn't have anything on. That's what I'm hearing. Yep. Is that right, Jack?
V cuts.
Okay, so okay, I know we're not talking about the Muppets part anymore, but I had an idea.
Okay. No
idea.
So Mother Brain as the Yep Yeps. Now hear me out. Right? Or the Yep Yeps as Mother Brain. You know how with brains, you sometimes when you're like overwhelmed or you have a lot of thoughts you're trying to think about, they kind of sometimes sound like they're talking over each other, right?
Yeah.
So you're having a discussion in your head, like, okay, I have a decision I have to make. So what do I do? Okay, I can do this, but I can do this, but then if I do this, then this, you know. So that's how the Mother Brain thinks, but she thinks out loud. So the Yep Yeps all start talking, yep, right, like overlapping each other. And then they all stop all of a sudden. They turn towards the person that they're talking to. And then all collectively, yep. All together. That's what I want.
Given the control of the individual Metroids, if Mother Brain has
it's like 30 different Yep Yeps.
Yeah. I mean, just think about the sound you get from like minions and stuff. So yeah, that kind of works. I like ooh.
And then my second pick, and so this one might not be so obvious, but if I thought about it a little bit, and like actually it does kind of make sense. Carl Urban.
That makes total sense.
You know what? No. For the character of Malkovich, I actually like Carl Urban more.
Yeah, because he's got the commanding presence when he's on screen. It kind of fits.
Well, I think that plus like the
So then, are you keeping
Yeah,
them same and you're just aging them up in the future or in the present day, or?
Well, I think in the case of David's movie, you're not using him in both places. You're just using him current, right?
So for the most part, it'll be current. Like I'd have to figure out something for like the past version because it's like that's like what.
You just have him shaved or something.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. It's like maybe if he just like shaves or something, or
Literally,
like,
you could just do like the most basic de-aging, some makeup,
maybe
touch up for
maybe
Carl.
maybe baby face in the past, and then like in the present, he's got like some stubble or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Oh,
rough
that
looking.
is.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, actually, now the more I'm thinking about it, I was like, no, yeah, Carl Urban's actually kind of perfect.
Yeah.
I love her. Like, I don't think this is gonna work. I think it will, and they list like the best person possible.
And I'm just sitting there like, hold on, wait, actually, that might have been a stroke of genius. Wait a minute.
Yeah. As soon as you said that, I was like, that actually worked, especially for the character itself and the way that character influences different parts of the game and whatnot.
Yeah,
Henry Cavill just really still comes off as a nice guy. I mean, granted, yeah, we saw him as like Witcher and shit like that, but like,
you know, Sam, I feel like I need to meet him in person so I can verify how nice the guy he is. I'm just saying, I will sacrifice.
Yeah, okay.
I'll make that sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, it's you take one for the team on that.
I will.
All right,
it's a risk, but I'm willing to take that risk.
Yeah, okay.
We'll keep that in mind. I appreciate your dedication. If an opportunity comes up, I will search. Oh, wrong thing. Click the wrong button. If an opportunity comes up, then we will see that you check that out for us. But that is I like that movie. And I think even if we take like the older and younger Malkovich, like if we take my older and younger Malkovich and we use the older and younger Gwendolyn Christie, Daisy Ridley, we have some great mother brain options. Dude, anybody that's put together for this movie works. This is a hell of a cast. I would see every one of these, and I'm just so mad that Jeff knows absolutely nothing about Metroid. Perfect cast for this movie. It's not fair. It's not fair. I'm curious. What was your research material? Did you do like a complete story video on YouTube, or did you just read through the wiki?
No, I looked at like a little bit of just like gameplay, just because I wanted to just feel like the energy. And it's like I haven't played Metroid since probably like Super Nintendo. Like I'm aware of the game, and back then I had like, you know, Nintendo Power like subscription, so I had like a cursory knowledge of just like what the game kind of was about, and I wasn't like completely in the dark. I did, you know, I read some like quick Wikipedia stuff on the different characters and just like who they are. I kind of tried to see if anybody had voiced them before, but when I saw like images of them, and I kind of was just thinking like, okay, I want the energy of like the side scrolling version. So that like locked in my director, and then I was just kind of like, all right, who can do it? You know what I mean? Who can keep up that high energy? And it's like, I don't know if y'all seen West Side Story, but Ariana DeBose, like I watched that movie, I was like, oh, it's obvious why she won the Oscar for this. Like she blew everybody off the screen, and I just felt like that version of whatever the song's when the America song where they're like all dancing in the street and stuff. I was just like, that's the energy right there. So then I started with her, and then I was just like, all right, who's gonna play off that? Because I know she was gonna be high energy. It was gonna be a lot of like sweating and like breathing hard. And then I know Janelle Monáe kind of has that like very I don't know. I've been a fan of her for a while, and so like the ArcAndroid thing kind of just. I was just trying to think of people who could play off of each other. Because then I was thinking, like, at some point it would be dope if, like, I don't know. I had this storyline in my mind of, like, not Mother Box, Mother Brain, kind of, like, putting Samus through these trials, but then, like, somewhere along the lines like getting jealous and then wanting to like have her own body or something like that. That was like a story that I was kind of developing just like in my mind just to see how I wanted those characters
You know what?
interact. And
that ends up happening.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So you're not far off. Like that's actually the story of like the Sax. So you could absolutely, yeah, we could
You
make
should
that
have been a
happen.
game designer for it. You already had the idea.
I mean, we could make that happen in this universe. In this that's probably what would you say, David? 2 movies in?
Yeah. We can say 2 movies in.
So
like the end of the second movie is like she gets her body, and that's the cliffhanger.
And you know what's crazy? Every one of the as a refresher, I did like the complete storyline. I did the complete timeline. And then I went back and just read on the individual characters. And that was why like Malkovich absolutely had to be in this for me. But yeah, it's kind of been an Easter egg in all of the games to have like a post-credit scene if you 100% complete the game. And every time there's been like someone who survives kind of thing. And there's a lot of stuff that happens like with the suit itself. And at one point she loses the suit and she's got to be in the Zero suit. And there's a lot of things that happen. And the suit actually becomes sentient later. And so
sentient, it's more of a possession than anything. But
well, I mean, I'm just trying to simplify it, but yeah, okay. It you can't really say the suit comes alive. You know what I'm saying?
I guess not possession, more like an infestation.
Right. It's the parasite, the X parasite. That gets into like more lore that's necessary. But to your point, Jeff, and because this is a movie that's being made, obviously we adapt and we stray where necessary. We stay true where necessary. I think it's absolutely possible to adjust the story to fit the concept of Mother Brain wanting to be sentient. Maybe Mother Brain creates the X virus, and as a result, that's how she transferred her own consciousness, and the Sax is just the consciousness of Mother Brain after MB doesn't work. I mean, it's doable, and I think it's a fantastic idea, and we have great casting choices to make this shit work. This was oh my god, this was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. Like when we did back when we did Back to the Future, I was like, since it was already an established movie, and we were really just looking at replacing cast members. Like, okay, this is who's going to be this person, who's going to be that person. Essentially, nobody really wanted to change much from the story. We were just changing the cast. But in this case, as we had to kind of give a little insight to the movie we're making, we have all these different movies right here. You know what I'm saying? We have a high pace action. We have the space opera with an action space opera. We have space horror. We have another, a different version of space action. And then we have the space adventure. Like, that's all different movies. And just the energy that comes from each of those casting choices for Samus, that changes the tone of every one of these movies. And I can sit here and gush. But what people need to do is they need to give us their ideas. We're going to post this in group, and I want people to tell us which of these movies they would be interested in. Is there a single film that you would want? Do you want us to mix and match this?
Which one do you want to see this February?
Hey, no fair. But yeah, hell, I'd watch that movie any time of year. That is a bang up cast, and I think that is an excellent film. I personally would watch all of these. The only thing that's going to make a difference to me is I need to know who's directing Linda's movie. But I think
not Joss Whedon.
Right, not Joss Whedon. I think we were really, really close with the Russo brothers. Going with that Serenity kind of vibe, having the Russos come in.
Having a post-credits scene.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they would be great for that. And so everything else there works. And this is just going to be a good sounding movie, good looking movie, and mine, of course, will probably look the best. But I'm curious. I think there would be a lot of budget options here. You know what I'm saying? As Ty pointed out, James Wan's probably going to be able to secure a good bit of budget. They're not going to hold any money back from Gina Price. You know, like she's going to say what?
Damn, you want to put all these black women in outer space?
I mean, but I think like they have it's solid with Cree Summer. Like that comes in strong right there. Yeah, Janelle Monáe brings her own fan base, and she's, you know, like she's killing it right now. So I think they're willing to kind of get behind that project. And you have Oscar winner, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like everything you need to pitch it and get the money is here. And I think that's actually like, I think you get the budget.
They would make Malkovich white in my movie. That would be the one thing. That'd be the one thing they would make me do to get the check. And
he would be the love interest to make that work. Even though like not the case at all, but yeah, that would be animated. If it were animated, to have the guy that does Venture Brothers. Huh. What role? To have the guy that does Venture Brothers, what role would that be? For director. As we were talking about.
For the animation style?
Yeah.
Like if it were animated.
Yeah. That would actually
I feel like this is one of those few movies where I would want to see that like that arcane style.
Yeah.
It might be a little too sleek. I would be interested in seeing like a kind of a more traditional 2D animation, but like something extreme. Like, have y'all seen the Moon Girl clip? Moon Girl Double Dinosaur clip?
Yeah.
Comes out on Friday.
Like that. But yeah, the arcane. I was like, dang, man, am I missing out not playing this game? And people were like, this has nothing to do with the game.
No. You can like the stories independently.
Like they've written out the story if you want to read it, but it has nothing to do with the gameplay. No.
I will tell you right now, everything about League of Legends is great except League of Legends.
Well, except
except their fans.
Yeah.
Which
I don't believe that.
Because I had so much fun playing when I used to play League, but I usually only ever played bot games. Because if I ever played against like another team, they were horrible.
Yeah, it's that toxic community.
Because not just
people are the worst.
Not just that the team was toxic, but my own team got toxic.
Oh, you probably can't see. I'm wearing a Parks and Rec t-shirt, so that's what I was doing. John Ralphio.
Got to move on.
That online gaming.
Yeah, it
seems like a scary place.
It's definitely
it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting place to be. League is like the only game I like to play. No, you play other games because we talk about them. Marvel Snap, etc. You know, when you do the mobile games, so there's other stuff. But yeah, but you're also like ranked up really, really, really high in that game. So that's a little different. When you're like damn near pro, you get past some of the other stuff. You know, people you playing with is different than the average.
See,
person.
David, that's why I only play Binding of Isaac. I'm too pro.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I mean, when you get to that level, your experience is different. I get that. See, my experience would not be there for that game. So, folks, we want to thank everybody who was a part of the show tonight. I want to thank David and Linda for hopping on. Ty, my man, appreciate you being here. Jeffrey, I'm gonna find a movie that you just don't do well with.
Well, actually, Sam, I think it's your turn to pick the next one.
Yeah, it's your turn to pick the next one.
It is my turn to pick. Let's see. You know what? I actually had my first selection. So we've done Back to the Future. And so, you know what? I know what I wanted to do. We're going to stick with games. But this will be an easy one for you. So this is not the one to stump you. This is something that needed to be made. I've been waiting on it. Where the hell's my movie? Splinter Cell.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going somewhere else with it.
I was going to say Mass Effect.
Yeah, I thought you were going Mass Effect.
David would die for that.
I only gave a list of 6. I still have 4 picks I got to make. So,
Well, you got to tell us the roles too.
so yeah.
I mean, at this point, we can find out after the
Yeah,
chat.
you can. No, I meant just put it in the chat because his wasn't in the chat.
Yes. Okay. My bad. All right.
Yours wasn't in the chat, Sam.
I was gonna say, Sam, if you don't want to do Mass Effect, David and I'll do our own with Mass Effect and Fable. Okay, like
I will absolutely. You know what? Let me know. We will absolutely do Mass Effect because I'm good with that
actually
one too.
I was saying Fable too. Fable would be a really good movie.
Fable would be. I would animate Fable. Absolutely.
I would not animate Fable. I want to see a live action. If I want to see animated, I'd play the game. Like I'd want to see this done in live action, like Game of Thrones.
And Henry
style.
Cavill's got to be in there, and he's got to be shirtless, if not in a milk bath.
You know what?
I would say I would want him to be the hero, but I kind of want him to be the villain.
But wait a minute, that's the beauty of it. You can be both.
Actually, you know what? Okay. You guys familiar with Black Mirror?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Bandersnatch.
Yes.
Ooh.
Fable as Bandersnatch.
Take your own adventure. Ooh.
That would be
Different
super
decisions that you make
complicated.
here and here.
But that could be really good. If it was done right, that could be really good.
Actually, it's just 2 movies.
Well, because you could have different routes and stuff that you could take, and you could have different things that could eventually lead towards your downfall, even if you're good the whole time.
We make the movie Crash, or we make Sliding Doors, and we show the 2. Look, we will have to come back to this because that got me excited for a minute. We're not gonna do this right now. But write that one down because I kind of like that idea. We will definitely talk Fable. I love Mass Effect, so obviously we can absolutely cast Mass Effect. But the next one we're going to do our next fan cast it. You got a month from now because it'll be 2nd Wednesday in March. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Splinter Cell, the movie. It's been brought up 1,001 times. Nobody's made it. What the hell? What are they waiting on?
Just wait for that one guy who always ruins all the video game movies to make it. There you go.
Uwe Boll?
No,
Yeah.
you shut up. No.
To see, then I would have.
wait
Then
for
my
that.
movie would have to be on a why did I watch that? We're not doing both.
Wait for that stupid guy who's delusional and thinks that Silent Hill fans actually like him. Christopher Gans. There it is.
I would let you check that one out. So I want to thank everybody who was part of tonight's show. I want to thank everybody who watched tonight's show. Be sure to click that QR code there in the corner. That'll give you all of our links for everywhere that you can find us. I've had a great time tonight. This was Weigh In Wednesday. We hope that you've enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time. We are out of here. Peace.